My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. License 8YVN134, 9DHN696. These are demons monitoring where the Ontario police flew over me, engaging in ongoing sexual violence. I'm being molested by one demon after another, stalking via ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue. These demons are the same entities stalking in the middle of the night, with a whole police department that's behind that criminal conduct and obsession with me. And what is the criminal conduct that's happening, both based on the mentally ill who are at the simultaneously fearful and psychopathic. Okay, so they're both fearful and obsessed and enraged. Hence, ongoing stalking in an obvious manner where it's then documented and published on the venue of the internet, going toward a plethora of people's federal imprisonment. It's currently 12:08 a.m. This is documentation following up with regard to terrorism by helicopter by the Ontario Police Department, captured at 10:56 p.m. P.O.C. Right, the documentation that I'm going to publish for August 20th, 2025 Relevant context is that it is following from, it is ongoing progressive documentation regarding August 19th. So I captured the entity gang stalking by helicopter, and the sequence of events is pursuant to what is monitoring, which U.S. Bank is monitoring, the surveillance cameras of the U.S. Bank. The demons are stalking in the path using hazard lights. While they're engaging in gang stalking, the demons engage in typically going to like the Wells Fargo ATM. They're on camera engaging in transactions, which is evidence of criminal activity. They're monitoring, and these are the demons that think that they're intelligent while they are stalking as a government system, while they are leaving all manner of information about who and what they are doing regarding the pattern of conduct, as you are aware of it. The entity is stalking with peculiarized light. This is flashing light at where Alex Escobar is gang stalking me. Alex Escobar is going to federal prison. That's why the Ontario Police, the Ontario Fire Department are up at 12 o'clock at night stalking me, because that's what he was doing under the fake sun on this same street. And he's going to federal prison, and everything that this department, which is evidence against Alex Escobar and what he is doing and the malicious manner in which he is doing it, and the impunity with which he's engaging in it, that's relevant to how long this demon is going to federal prison. The people of the state are gang stalking at 333 North Euclid Avenue, where I'm capturing the fake sun at 7 in the morning, 12:53 in the afternoon, where Alex Escobar is gang stalking me, and that fake sun is still there. And his partners are stalking in the middle of the night, like what you saw at 12:35, 12:39, 12:42 a.m. Those are demons that are stalking with impossible light activity during the day, like what Alex Escobar is doing under a fake sun, and like what his demon-possessed partners, who are unintelligent and are always providing ongoing evidence against him and every other gang stalker who's going to prison, sitting around on dark corners waiting to sound sirens because they're fearful of me uploading the podcast and the video documentation. And that's exactly what was happening at 10:56 p.m. after I uploaded the video. The city of Ontario stalking in small government planes, Ontario Police gang stalking by helicopter. After I published that video and the Ontario Police are gang stalking by helicopter, AMR is gang stalking while I'm publishing that video on the venue of the internet, as the entity is engaging in more conduct that they are under no circumstances controlling. These are demons that are providing evidence against themselves. That's literally what they're doing. But I'll go ahead and let you know about this cat and mouse game that they're playing by themselves. They are already prosecuted. I have a surplus of evidence, okay? But this is what the demons are doing, and this is the failed strategy that they utilize. When you are fearful of that which you never should have done in the first place, and you are also at the same time mentally ill, and you continue in that unsuccessful endeavor because you don't know what else to do. The entities engage in ongoing criminal monitoring, helicopter activity, following what is the plane activity based on what it is that I'm uploading on the internet. And as I upload, as I capture podcasts, as I process the podcast, the entity is stalking. And these are the demons that are engaging in that with regard to trying to stop the podcast being published, or at least slow down the podcast being published, slow down the internet being published on the venue of the internet, while they slow down the Wi-Fi where the demons are monitoring at ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue, where I'm documenting that. And this is the entity that's engaging in that because of their fear of the documentation. That's literally what this is. It's criminal summoning. It's occurring in the engineer light. It's under the fake moon on the same street where the fake sun is rising. The fake sun rose this morning where I'm standing right now at 415 North Euclid Avenue, where ARCO is across the street. And just like the entity is gang stalking through the commercial venues like QCD of Starbucks, this is light activity and audible activity, while a demon goes to create ongoing activity to slow down the Wi-Fi. This is federal stalking by commercial actors who are not helping the Ontario Police. Alex Escobar is going to federal prison regardless. He is going to federal prison. The entity is going to federal prison with regard to the list, the laundry list, by the way, of demons who are going to federal prison for the already clear and clearly delineated criminal system that they committed in furtherance of trying to get away with murdering me and no one ever knowing anything about it. And these demons engage in what are ceremonies of celebration and doing so. This is what Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields have engaged in when they celebrated too soon, thinking that they were successful in framing me for criminal conduct that they committed and getting away with stealing money and property from me. And that's not the case. The entities engaged in this criminal conduct, nevertheless, I want to document this because what I'm documenting, I document what I'm subject to, and then I go about publishing it, and then the demons engage in more of that. This is, for example, when you see the helicopter videos and I capture one. All right, so they're stalking
Okay, the Ontario police make their debut for the night. And then as I then document, then they fly over again, then they fly over again, then they fly over again, then they fly over again. And that's how I end up with the plethora of videos. And it's all occurring in the specific environment. And by the way, when you have that frequency, that large volume, that's also speaking to a pattern of conduct even outside of showing what is unmistakable targeting of me, myself, a fake sun, and engineered light. Okay, but this is the entity that is very much highly intelligent. Demons are not reasoning. Their demons are not engaged in any logical conduct whatsoever. They stalk, they lie, conspire, murder, cover up. Okay, they're not intelligent. And the entities engaging in this conduct with regard to fear about my publishing the evidence. So I want to include that. This is the truth of the demon-possessed that are already defeated. They're already embarrassed. They are literally fearful about what's going to happen next. Are the feds going to raid them at home? Are the feds going to raid them at the fire department? Are the feds going to put it all over the news while it happens? Like this is the life and the existence that the entity is at right now. And they're fearful of every word that I put on the venue of the internet. And it is, again, while you're sitting back and thinking about that logically, this is the entity that's engaging in very foolish behavior. So their resolution, this is in the mind of a psychopath, which is, again, residing in a spirit that is occupying all of them. All of them are demons, and they're all gang stalkers. And they're all, again, first-time defendants for domestic terrorism and psychological torture, which is committed in furtherance of conspiracy to murder. But the entities engaging in this while they are committing more criminal monitoring conduct, and it's being documented, and it's also relevant context regarding what's happening, what am I doing, what just happened, what's the entity's intent in doing that, what's the pattern of conduct show. This is the entity that's not, they don't think that deep whatsoever. They are surrounded with evidence. They are in a chokehold with documentation. Michael Gerken is indeed a demon. This is a pedophile. Okay, this is a sex offender that keeps my vagina under surveillance while the Ontario Fire Department is in the same plaza where the Ontario City Hall, in the same plaza where that Ontario Town Square and that OVITT Family Community Library where the fake sun rises and sets, which is the same street, Euclid Avenue, the fake sun rising and setting. The Starbucks on the same Euclid Avenue where the fake sun rising and setting. And around the corner is Woodside Senior Apartments, and at that apartment complex, the fake sun rising and setting. And down by the 60 freeway at Economy Inn, the fake sun rising and setting. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct. These are demons that are desperate and very much fearful. Psychopaths, what you need to know is a national security threat. Psychopaths, mentally ill people who are of that condition, they do not stop engaging in conduct that doesn't behoove them. They engage in more violence, meaning they'll grab more guns, they'll crash more planes, they'll engage in more violence, crashing into as many people as they can on the freeway, dragging as many people as they can, into a circumstance of physical harm. This is the entity, this is the rationale behind what the demon-possessed Ontario Police and Ontario Fire Department and American Medical Response are engaging in. So that's literally what's happening. I'm capturing video last night. It's still the same night, but technically it's August 20th, so that's why I'm speaking in those terms. Last night, Ontario, City of Ontario stalking smaller government planes. I take screenshots of the arrivals and departures from the Ontario International Airport. The entity is engaging in what is hovering over me by small government planes. The entity is engaging in what is, then I publish those videos on the venue of the internet, for example, at 9:47 p.m., that video. And as I publish that, immediately helicopter activity initiates. And then the entity is engaging in what is American Medical Response criminal summoning, as I then initiate publishing that video of helicopter activity, which started after I published the video of this entity stalking by planes. And as I upload the video of the helicopter activity, the entity, I began working on the podcast in order to publish that. And this is when the entity has a parade of demons in Ontario Fire Department vehicles. The Ontario Fire Department has absolutely no legitimacy. I've been documenting them targeting me from hotel to hotel in the city of Ontario, by the way, exhibiting demon possession, stalking with impossible light, engaging in what is criminal summoning everywhere, which is shown in the specific environment. And it's also used to prosecute them while fire departments, well, not just fire departments, but you can compare the gang stalking by other fire departments with what the Ontario Fire Department is. And that's just when you make it specific to gang stalking firefighters, like CAL FIRE, like San Bernardino County Fire Department, all right, like the Los Angeles County Fire, like the Los Angeles Fire Department. I've documented all of these agencies engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct, and the Ontario Fire Department has committed kidnapping. So this is relevant to Michael Gerken's criminal engagement in in the P.O.C. with the American Medical Response, a documented kidnapper with the Ontario Police who are being disbanded. Kidnapping is a basis for your removal from whatever position you hold in government. You're not holding that position. So I just want to be clear, this is the entity that's very much fearful, very much desperate, and also not only delusional, but lacking in any strategy. Okay, the entity that is gang stalking was never in any position to maintain this ongoing system in any secretive manner, and it was never going to exist forever, perpetually, with no one ever finding out about it. They were not ever put in any position to be victorious. It was never going to happen in the first place. They are facing an inevitable demise, and part of their demise, a core aspect of their demise is being exposed and embarrassed as the actually mentally ill population, which is speaking to the fact that there is no exception to that mental illness when they are a part of the government itself, and that's speaking to those that are in positions of authority that they're unworthy and disqualified to hold, such as Michael Gerken, this pedophile that's sitting in this position, while demons of that fire department are sitting around, lurking around corners, waiting to engage in stalking with light and audible activity, while all manner of a demonic environment surrounds them. These are demonic behaviors which are designed to surveil another person that they are conspiring to murder. Okay, they are specifically interested in that, and they're doing so while an American citizen trying to protect themselves and their lives from terrorists of the Ontario Fire Department are publishing evidence about that, and that's exactly what these demons of the Ontario Fire Department are hostile toward. That is, they are determined to conspire and act in furtherance of murdering me, and they are also hostile to my right to privacy, to not have them monitoring my vagina. They engage in ongoing acts of quote-unquote retaliation, which is only existing in the mind of a psychopath. When you are being prosecuted, when you are being documented and exposed for gang stalking, which is never supposed to be something that's happening outside of some surreptitious manner, secretly, you have already lost, okay? And nobody is thinking that the targeted individual is mentally ill under any circumstances. To the contrary, the demon possessor is shown to be the maniacal psychopaths, the delusional, antisocial, demented, unhinged pedophiles. None of this is hyperbolic. That they are. They're criminals that also incentivize and enable corruption amongst the people of the state who don't need any more help. They're already mentally ill. They're demons. And so they're engaged in an ongoing, which is an albeit failed, contract on my head. Okay, Michael Gerken is not remaining in this position. This is absurd. It's embarrassing to be a stalker in a whole fire truck. It's pathetic to be a stalker in an ambulance. And these demons engaged in kidnapping before with the Ontario Police, they are being disbanded. Okay, it's P.O.C. Just want to make sure that it's known these demons are engaged in this pattern of conduct pursuant to what is fear about what it is that I'm documenting as I document and proceed with publishing. And so the unintelligent response of the mentally inept is to let's do more and more and more, so that she's pushed back with more documentation as we slow down the internet and we try to stifle her operation of her devices, so that I upload all that evidence on the venue of the internet and then give ongoing commentary explaining the demon possessed who are mentally ill and coming from a disadvantage with regard to a federal prosecutor that has already surrounded them with a body of evidence and will always put all of the evidence on the venue of the internet. The entity is the one that's on a time frame. Because the case is already secure, the case is already complete. These demons are in an environment where NASA, where the CIA are aware of and can look at the fact that this is suspect on its face. But the evidence is proving more than just what is suspicious. The evidence is prosecuting terrorism in the United States. It's going to be appreciated as such, and you're going to be prosecuted for it. All right, the impunity is what you're paying attention to. Michael Gerken is being removed from office, and Michael Gerken is aware of everything that I utter that's relevant to the way in which Michael Gerken shall be treated under federal law. This is speaking to what is every office, every level of government, every resource of the City of Ontario is engaging in this criminal system, and that is what is so absurdly corrupt about the City of Ontario. And this is shared, it's ongoing throughout the state of California. It's currently 12:34 a.m. on August 20, 2025. This is documentation of the very timid and fearful and illogical, unintelligent demons of the City of Ontario who have no other strategy other than to engage in more criminal conduct that's documented and put on the venue of the internet for you to watch. All right, that's relevant context. Satan is fearful, and so Satan does very stupid things when he is scared. Exhibit A is the P.O.C. All right, it's currently 12:34 a.m. This is P.O.C.
All right, it is 7:07 a.m. on still Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. And you'll see the fake sun that's in alignment, not with the hotel in Monrovia, California, which is the case when I'm in at Courtyard by Marriott in Monrovia, which is in Pasadena, Monrovia, California, the Arcadia area. It's off the 10 freeway, excuse me, off of the 210 freeway, and where I'm capturing the fake sun from morning until in the middle of the afternoon over in its zenith over my head over the hotel, and in that parking lot where the entity is stalking by helicopter, and in the evening. I am at 415 North Euclid Avenue where the entity is stalking. Not only are you looking at the engineered light that the demon possessed are stalking in, while they are all as a population engaging in an effort to monitor, they exhibit mental illness as that group as well. The impossible light activity is speaking to the sickness of the mind. The collective effort of monitoring one person is speaking to the sickness of the mind. And I want to and you'll see that in the images. And the fake sun is again the same parking lot where the Ontario police are gang stalking at 12 in the morning. And they're stalking with impossible light, just like the people of the state are right now. This is stalking with impossible light. License 9GWH 989 9ROP 429. And at what is 7 a.m., the entity is stalking with commercial planes as they are together, demons, just like you saw in video, over hundreds of times. But yesterday, particular August 19, 2025, you saw United Airlines, you saw UPS hovering over specifically Euclid Avenue, flying over what is the 320 North Euclid Avenue apartments, flying in the direction west in doing so, and then engaging in what is getting in alignment to the sidewalk in the direction west, and then making a U-turn. The entities engaging in what is stalking, coming into alignment with my physical person, and then engaging in what is demonic pacing while going back in the opposite direction. It's going back and forth, doing that in a commercial plane. Nonetheless, this is what the entity is doing at 7 a.m., where there is also, again, no public. I just want to speak to, it's already shown that the that L&D WAPNER is gang stalking, okay? And then there's all the information that goes with the fact of what is a gang stalker, who is gang stalking, what you know about one that is gang stalking, all right? It's the Ontario International Airport has published flights at 7:05 a.m. And again, I believe this is already shared to the Google Drive. And the entity is, again, outside of what's published online, as well as the evidence of what has nothing to do with any arrival or departure in the first place. But I just want to document that. This is what the entity, this is a part of the lunacy that L&D WAPNER is a part of. This is relevant to the ongoing domestic terrorism that the gang stalkers share in. And this is the mental illness that's going to be used to diagnose gang stalkers, okay? That they act for the purpose of trying to criminally defame another person, and they've engaged in criminal activity that is going to result in their diagnosis. Okay, this is P.O.C. The entity is engaging what is driving the license plate that I'm reading. As you hear me read license plates, including Omnitrans. These are demons that are driving buses, and impossible lights trailing across the structure of that you saw on video. This is light while they're monitoring. Those are mentally ill gang stalkers, and that's stalking with impossible light in the same manner that Ontario police is stalking at 12 o'clock in the morning across the street. And headlights are the guys of the same pattern of mentally ill demons molesting with light. 9KNR 638, 7GTF 911, 8VQA 505, 8NCU 301, 7ADX 415. Stalking with impossible light, moving across the storefront where they are stalking together. And the fake sun is along the driver's side of their vehicles, by the way. License 4979DO3. And so that is why they are driving through what is engineered light, and light is projecting I can't really say that one, 9QJ971, but I don't think that's the whole plate. You can scratch that one. They're driving through what is the fake sun 9KUB502, sharing in mental illness. The fake sun is along the driver's side of their vehicle, and it's also not the fake sun, but they're driving along what is Euclid Avenue North. The fake sun is on the driver's side of their vehicle, and yet while they're driving through and driving past the fake sun, that is rising in alignment to where I'm located in the city of Ontario on Euclid Avenue. You have what is light that is manifesting along the passenger side of their vehicle at a distance, like 8JBP035 and 8XT111. This is where the Ontario International Airport is stalking, having what is 7, let me see, that is, who is that?
United Airlines. While the impossible light is coexisting across the storefront, United Airlines is gang stalking, okay? That's the entity that's sharing in that mental illness, and I just want to be clear, this is relevant to what is crossing path, light activity with the simultaneity of crossing path, and the audible noise, which is amplified in volume. It is the entity's conduct of impossible light activity and impossible audible activity, and then presence in that environment. All the demons who are engaging, these are demon-possessed people who are pacing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. This is the ritual that the demon-possessed are engaging in when they're stalking one person together, okay? This is the demonic system that they're engaging in, and this is the breakdown of that, and this is what companies such as United Airlines are engaging in. It's 7:12 a.m. right now while United Airlines is sharing in that demonic pacing, and they're doing so pursuant to what is departures that are published on the website. That is includes, like I stated, United Airlines at 7 a.m. And coming from what would be going toward Chicago flight UA2649. This is what's published coming from, that's United Airlines that would be taking off at 7 in the morning, I believe. Yeah, United Airlines taking off at 7 in the morning and crossing path over what is the apartment complex right now, flying in the direction west, hovering over where I'm located. That has nothing to do with taking off miles away from the airport. So understand that the entity that's monitoring evidence engaged in what is using a United Airlines plane flying miles away, because a takeoff from terminals 2 and 4 does not include flight over 320 North Euclid Avenue. And this is Alan D. Wapner's, again, engagement in the pattern of conduct and the unintelligent system that is employed in gang stalking. The entity engaged in what is stalking with a smaller plane right now, the same criminal pattern of conduct by the government, engaging in what is stalking using aircrafts. It's aerial surveillance, and it's also relevant to what is sharing in that ongoing campaign of demons pacing all around the targeted individual while they're engaging in this circus of lights, while they're engaging in what is harassing the person that's being accosted with that light, that is subject to what is, again, that conduct while psychopaths are stalking them, and as though none of that is happening. That's the entity that engages in that perplexing and demented behavior. United Airlines is sharing in that, and United Airlines taking off from either Terminal 2 and Terminal 4. Understand that this street, this area in Ontario is miles away, what is northwest from the airport, and when United Airlines is taking off headed toward a destination with passengers on flight, there is no hovering throughout the city that would result in flying west over 320 North Euclid Avenue, like I just documented. And this is the entity that's aware that it's being documented. That's the unintelligent effort at that. United Airlines isn't doing anything other than gang stalking. But I do want to be clear, while they're gang stalking, they're engaging in that which is also unpublished on the website. Okay, the takeoff going towards Chicago here is not including hovering over 320 North Euclid Avenue, and that's also relevant to a investigation of the operations of this airport, where Alan D. Wapner is going to be removed from office and subject to what is gang stalking and abusing that position with regard to, facilitating criminal monitoring and a prosecution for that. Also relevant to what is his knowledge of that evidence, okay, where there is no reconciling. This is relevant evidence regarding stalking one person, in all the ways in which you're identifying that. And none of it includes flying over 4 miles away from the airport to hover over the apartment complex flying in the direction west. This is what United Airlines is doing when they are flying in the direction west over Metro 102 apartments. And they are doing so where the fake sun is not at 415 North Euclid Avenue. It is over in alignment to where the Ontario City Hall is, which is not the same position, okay? And none of this light activity has anything to do with sunlight. United Airlines is doing so in an environment which is showing the intent to psychologically torture and harass and terrorize, because they're doing so in this environment. They're doing so pursuant to what is the pattern of conduct of gang stalking in furtherance of murder, okay? So I just want to be clear, 7:11 a.m., United Airlines is hovering over the D Street and Euclid Avenue intersection, and that has nothing to do with takeoffs and arrivals. Neither does United Airlines gang stalking at 7 in the morning at what is Euclid Avenue at the Economy Inn and the grocery outlet parking lot, where they're engaging in a wide U-turn over me, which is clearly no arrival or takeoff. They're engaging in what is circus tricks while I'm referring to United Airlines. And the United Airlines engages in the gang stalking conduct under the fake sun, which is not in alignment with 415 North Euclid Avenue, nor does any flight or vehicles driving in that environment result in sunlight trailing across buildings where the entity is shown to be targeting, including United Airlines. This is the entity that's engaging in that, and this is the entity that's engaging in an ongoing documented cycle, and that cycle is serving for what is a population engaging in a P.O.C, 8SVE665, a mentally ill pedophile, stalking me, and doing so with regard to listening and anticipating. As I'm documenting, literally the demons are listening, and this is psychopathic behavior while they run toward their demise. These are the demons that are addicted to what is harm of another, and this is a trap because the demon possessed are being surrounded with evidence in order to prosecute them, in order to trap them in boxes where they belong. They belong in prison, they belong in padded rooms, they belong out of position where they cannot harm people, like demons flying planes, demons a part of police departments and fire departments, demons flying helicopters, demons that are driving public transportation, demons that are driving buses, demons that have access to children, license 8PHU015, 6EDA761. These are demons that are pacing under the same fake sun, license plate 7VNA468. Demons that are driving ambulances, stalking, not attending to any emergency. The emergency is that the mentally ill are running about engaging in lawlessness without any sort of control. And that's exactly what is the purpose of the P.O.C. and the prosecution of the state of California, where the mentally ill are engaging in what is all manner of lawlessness and furtherance of murder. They murder people together. Okay? That's P.O.C. All right? It's currently 7, that audible noise coexisting with the P.O.C. Let me capture this video. Alrighty, this is again the entity that is targeting with regard to the activities surrounding me on Euclid Avenue. The fake sun moving as I move. And the entity engages in this, which has nothing to do with arrivals and departures from the Ontario International Airport, flying to come into alignment with Euclid Avenue, where I'm located, where the fake sun is concentrated on me, and then going about and engaging in a U-turn. This is, again, while the entity is engaging in this conduct in concert with state actors that are monitoring with impunity, that's going to be disbanded. That's the demons of the Ontario Police Department. Stalking as an entity. Remember, Alex Escobar's gang stalking at this same location with the people of the state. Not United Airlines, but UPS. UPS and United Airlines represent the same corrupt entity, the people of the state, who are stalking very obviously under a fake sun. This is literally 333 North Euclid Avenue, where UPS is stalking with flashing light. The fake sun is over the top of my head, and Alex Escobar's gang stalking in the path as I'm coming from Starbucks, where the sun would not still be present. And that's showing you that Alan D. WAPNER is very much engaged in what is monitoring as a mentally ill psychopath. So are the Ontario Police Department, mentally ill demons, who are stalking with impossible light activity at nightfall and stalking with impossible light activity during the day, while they're monitoring under a fake sun as demons that are engaging in surveillance, okay? That's a psychopath that's also engaged in routinely monitoring my vagina. And the government is helping this mentally ill, sexually perverted, and demented behavior, okay? That truck is serving what UPS is engaging in the middle of the afternoon, where the fake sun is present, not the natural environment, where the sun would be over my head at 12:53 p.m., where Alex Escobar of the gang stalking Ontario Police Department is engaging in what is monitoring. 4LPX758 is a gang stalker and a demon-possessed one, okay? This is demonic behavior. And it's happening in an environment where the police are incentivizing and sharing in it. Impossible light across that building, 7THU124 is targeting. These are demons who are pacing under the fake sun that moves as I move from 415 North Euclid Avenue, where the demons are stalking with impossible light, which has nothing to do with driving next to, underneath the sun that sits on this same street setting after 6 p.m. The OVITT Family Community Library is over here. The Ontario Town Square is right there. This is Starbucks, where the capturing the fake sun is already sitting on the record. Gang stalking police officers that I've documented, a laundry list of them, they're going to federal prison. All right, and the Ontario International Airport is engaging in flights that are not published on the website because they're not engaging in any arrival or departures pursuant to the pattern of conduct. They are gang stalking. It's this engineer light that they're driving in. The fake sun is moving as I move. And United Airlines is stalking, targeting while they are on the street, stalking in possible light activity. As you can see, my shadow appearing in the shade. These are demons who are all stalking together. And this is a supernatural occurrence, which is a documented pattern, where United Airlines, American Airlines, Delta Airlines, every airline that's engaging in unpublished criminal conduct monitoring under a fake sun in concert with the co-defendants, the Ontario Police Department, the people of the state, every corrupt business, they're monitoring together. This is P.O.C. The Ontario International Airport is a national security threat. Alan D. WAPNER represents a sex offender, a pedophile who was a domestic terrorist, a national security threat, conspiring my murder while still stalking obsessively, but in a manner that is clearly identifiable to the feds, and also in a manner that is a video stop right here, but also in a manner that is clearly identifiable to you where you are listening to and watching that pattern of conduct, okay? This is flight that I'm capturing on video, and you're looking at them again engage in what is the U-turn conduct. They get up to the street where the entity is concentrating activity. That's where the fake sun is aimed on me, moving north and south as I'm on this street. This is the same street that I'm on at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the evening, and the fake sun has not gone anywhere, and it's centered on me. That's where the Ontario International Airport is concentrating activity. While these demons pace all around, they're sharing in that demonic, psychopathic pacing conduct as demons in the sky space over me, and they're doing so while they are listening to the documentation about it. Those are the mentally ill. That's going to be used to remove the airport altogether. That's going to be used to prosecute gang-stalking demons conspiring the murder of an American citizen whom they are stalking, keeping under surveillance using commercial planes, which is an extraordinarily psychopathic behavior, which is relevant to what is the gang stalking underway by the Ontario Police Department, sharing in that demonic ritual, which I captured on video. All right, the Ontario Police are going to serve to prosecute each other. All of the gang stalking law enforcement agencies are serving to prosecute each other. The entire entity is serving to prosecute itself, but the evidence is so detailed. The evidence is so wealthy. This is showing you what gang stalking police officers are doing in another city at the same time of year, under the same circumstances, which is impossible to be the normal environment, the natural environment, which is speaking to what is the pattern of conduct showing that ongoing conspiracy to commit murder amongst a malicious entity that is targeting in that same manner as a population, as a corrupt government body with specific knowledge of who I am, based on the impossibility that that environment could exist and could coexist anywhere else but for a pattern of conduct, but for specific knowledge of the person that's surrounded by that environment and that behavior, and that obviously extraordinary conduct, such as the airports that are engaging in flights that are not published, the airports that are engaging in what is taking off that is rising in elevation over every corner in the city of Ontario, flying over every hotel that I'm at, doing so at all hours of the night, what's not published on the website, doing so in a manner that is extraordinarily disruptive, that's amplified audible activity while they're pacing, with demons that are maintaining surveillance all around me, while the circus light is present, while the fake moon and the fake sun, while the demons are pacing all around on the ground. The demons of the Ontario International Airport are gang stalking. That is every single airline. Okay, this is the body of evidence that's published on the website, published on the YouTube channel, which is the means of prosecuting the government. This is necessary with regard to a public investigation exposing what is an unprecedented crime, never before discussed, never before exposed. This is relevant to prosecuting the government for what is gang stalking, no longer an unsupported, unsubstantiated conspiracy theory, which is what the United States wants gang stalking to be referred as, because gang stalking is a core system in operation in this country. That's why. And that's why prosecution on the internet is key, because this is very serious and it's very real, and so is the prosecution. So is the prosecution. Stalking at 240 North Euclid Avenue. These are demons. The fake son following me, and this is how you're recognizing a stalker, who then, delusional, hops out and gets on a camera. Well, I will prosecute them for criminal presence and malicious psychopathic conduct, targeting by engaging in what is corrupt business practices within establishments such as Wells Fargo. License plate 7YQF644. P.O.C. They're stalking the path on 7:25 a.m. All right, this is P.O.C. All right, and this is exactly what the federal RICO case will consist of. Going and engaging in that pattern of conduct and getting out in engineer light under the fake sun, engaging in what is a documented transaction with the government, and you're going to be prosecuted for it. The entity does the same thing under the fake sun, does the same thing with the impossible light activity, does the same thing with the entity stalking by helicopters and planes, and the transaction with the gang stalkers, that is Wells Fargo, for example, is going to be a basis of prosecution. 7UQA685, 9MJZ371, 9HEM974, 9RYY171, 9JRA144. These are all demons stalking with impossible light, stalking with the airport and the police department, doing so in furtherance of committing murder, sharing in psychological torture. 9GIE877, 9G KW672. These are pedophiles. These are the pedophiles that are gang stalking. 9U, JZ365, 8EES, 597, 9ABT868, 9HFT360. All right, these are the pedophiles that are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, and so are corrupt businesses facilitating it, enabling it, supporting such pedophiles, employing pedophiles, engaging in the corrupt business practices which aid in the ongoing secret system surrounding pedophilia, trafficking children. This is what gang stalking is centered around. Sex with minors. These demons are engaging in what is obsession with sexual activity with those that don't consent to it, with those that are under the legal age, minor children, based on what Satan has made them. Not only are they mentally ill, as I'm showing you their pattern of conduct, you're understanding pedophilia is rooted in what is a spiritual condition. You are a pervert because you have the spirit of a pervert on you. That is relevant to the mental illness, the spirit of a mentally ill person that is gang stalking as a whole matter of an entity. That's speaking to the implications regarding gang stalking and the population that's engaging in it, and it's demonic. 90CR069, 7JOY 365. That is Student Transportation of America, a very long documented gang stalker, driving buses, gang stalking me with impossible light, doing so with minor children. So you need to know that pedophiles driving school buses, and unfortunately, you should already be conditioned with that reality, and you don't understand how much of a reality it is because the whole population of California is gang stalking, and they are in the industry of driving school buses every single day, and they don't have a criminal record for trafficking children, for having sex with children, for being a gang stalker, a terrorist, a sex offender, and that's exactly what they are while they're gang stalking me every day in Ontario. Demons stalking with impossible light. License plate 8KVS481. License 7FNC867. And this is what the police are a part of as well. They're gang stalkers. They're pedophiles. And they're protecting pedophilia. They failed in that. I'm exposing it. Not only am I exposing and prosecuting it, you need to understand what they're directly engaging in, and it is indeed pedophilia. All right, the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct and is doing so while the Ontario International Airport is concentrating plane activity on Euclid Avenue, where the circus lights are centered on me in an impossible manner. That impossibility of light activity, that impossibility that the sun would sit over one person on one street in one city, for example, or over one building for 12 hours, that impossibility that you're doing anything other than targeting a specific area for what I've given the context of why they're targeting, that's relevant to mental illness. Okay, the entity that presents as mentally, that entity that seeks to present as sane and is gang stalking is the malice of a population of special needs, a special needs population. They are engaging in what is the malicious pattern of conduct, and these are psychopaths. Okay, and they are not presenting. Actually, when you are looking at that, you're taking a second look because you're typically not paying attention, especially when your life is designed intentionally in California to always be on the move, always be on to the next thing, always being consumed with trying to get here, trying to get there, and not paying attention to what's going on in life. Okay, this is the entity that's not even presenting as sane at all. Nothing is normal about it. And you are looking at that, and what is relevant to that is the criminal conduct that's going on, that's coexisting, which is public corruption that's happening right in front of your face. The gang stalking by the Ontario Police Department is literally going to serve for federal prison, as the Ontario Police Department has literally done a service to the public in ridding itself, okay, of that disease-infected agency. They are full of cockroaches who are all demon-possessed. They are psychopaths. They are deranged, and that is something that they don't want you to know about. No demon wants you to know about that. But this is what is cloaked within the pattern of conduct, and those that are engaging in the pattern of conduct, the fact that they are demons. They harbor the spirit of pedophilia. They harbor the spirit of mental illness. They harbor the spirit of obsession, where they are addicted to and obsessed with the person that they have vowed to Satan to sacrifice. There's a failed sacrifice here, and I'm exposing it, and it's relevant to prosecution under the law. This would be recognized as conspiracy to commit murder, and they've already acted in furtherance of that. Gang stalking is that which is committed in furtherance of the conspiracy to murder. So they've already made what is a reasonable step, more than a reasonable step. They've been engaged in gang stalking me for years. They've been engaged in monitoring the evidence about them gang stalking me for years. They've been engaged in repeatedly kidnapping in order to continue gang stalking and obstruct knowledge being put out about them gang stalking, all to to engage in what is the conspiracy to murder, accomplish a murder. This is a police department engaging in that. This is a fire department engaging in that, an airport engaging in that, committed to it. And they have sacrificed themselves in doing so. Understand that as well. Their witchcraft and voodoo and black magic, they found that it is ineffective. They, however, have lost their mind. They being demons who live amongst illusions, who rely and put faith in magic. I want you to be clear. The spirit of mental illness is just that. It resides in a spirit that affects behavior. And then manifestly, you're looking at what is behavioral health concerns. These demons are totally illogical and lacking in what is any sort of prudence with the information that they know and have available. And they are hoping, wishing on something that's not going to happen. They also anticipate, remember, this is the corrupt government. The corrupt government that's gang stalking is very much aware of the evidence against it, very much aware about what they anticipate the federal government to do, even though they've never been subject to it before because no one's ever exposed and prosecuted gang stalking. But they are very much anticipating, and they're still persisting in this manner. This is all relevant to the prosecution of the government and the people of the state that are in the shoes of the government. That's relevant to their mental illness, the delusion. Okay, this is harassment by the city of Ontario that's blowing debris on me while they are hostile to the truth that I'm speaking. These are demons that are, again, subject to what, again, do not speak English, act as though they can't communicate, but they engage in that same exact pattern of conduct. And the entity is doing so with regard to that P.O.C. This is the city of Ontario that is engaging in stalking with impossible light, driving around, monitoring, stalking with noise under a fake sun, okay? The leaf blower that's under the fake sun at the Ontario Town Square is speaking to gang stalking. The elements of monitoring are underway, while the entity is keeping this fake sun over this Ontario Town Square where demons are playing with their kids at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They're sharing the same criminal elements of monitoring, the gang stalking together. And those that feign not speaking English, they know exactly who I am and what I'm doing and what it is, the nature of what it is that I'm discussing, while those non-English speaking demons are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and gang stalking immigrants are being deported, by the way. They're being deported. It is currently 7:34 a.m. where the entity is engaged in what is monitoring, but they're also engaged, y'all pay attention, the entity that doesn't like the truth of what it is that I speak, because it's forcing delusional psychopaths who lie to themselves about what's happening and what's going to happen and versus what they continue to do, and you know that they're doing, and so do the feds know, while they're engaging in it on video via podcast, in a manner showing what is malice necessarily. P.O.C. All right, this is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct and is doing so as a matter of what is documentation. All right, it is currently 7:34 a.m. This is happening in the same exact impossible light activity under the fake sun. It's bright view. So I'm capturing screenshots at 7:35 a.m. Screenshots because I have to delete some footage. I'm not going to delete anything, but I took some screenshots which are probative of the time, probative of the activity method. And while I'm at 415 North Euclid Avenue, the activity method is plain activity. The activity method is the ongoing demons that are pacing in traffic, and they're all doing so while the entity is keeping the fake sun that stayed stationary until the moment that I began walking south on this street, where the fake sun stays on this street in the evening. And then the entity is delusional because everybody knows what the Ontario Police Department is doing in the city of Ontario, where I'm showing a fake sun remaining on Euclid Avenue. What the Ontario International Airport is doing in the city of Ontario when the fake sun's remaining over me on Euclid Avenue. This is what I'm documenting at 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 o'clock in the evening, where they are engaging in what is flights that are not published on the website. Flights that, by the way, are never going to be witnessed by myself when they're taking off over 4 miles away at the airport at Terminals 2 and 4. None of it includes flight over the roof of the Metro 102 apartments. None of it includes flight over the intersection of Philadelphia and Euclid Avenue. None of it includes flights miles away from the airport after taking off from that airport and then engaging in a U-turn over me or in relevant position to me to fly back in the opposite direction east. None of it is including flight over Euclid Avenue and East Street or over Woodside Senior Apartments or over the 325 West G Street or over Stater Brothers at 646 West Holt Boulevard or over Starbucks at 706 West Holt Boulevard in San Antonio, or over the what is the economy in, flying in the direction, not even flying in the direction west, flying in the direction south over me while I'm in that hotel, repeated. None of that has anything to do with arrivals and departures that the entity maintains publishing that information about. But I'm documenting what is clear targeting, hovering throughout the city, stalking me where I'm going, following where I go, stalking, remaining where I remain by maintaining ongoing plane activity patrolling, which is surveillance. And as they're engaging in ongoing stalking as an entity, it's surveillance altogether as an entity. All right? So I just want to be clear. I'm capturing the images of the fake sun. Ontario Town Square is where the fake sun is remaining when they are stalking on this same street, Euclid Avenue, at 6 o'clock in the evening. All right, the United Airlines is gang stalking, and they're sharing in this demonic ritual. They are engaging in what is a published sacrifice. United Airlines and every airline is no longer secretly engaging in what is sacrificing American citizens. They gang stalk me, and it's a matter of public information, and it's also a basis to prosecute. All right, it's currently 7:37 a.m. This is the criminal conduct for which Jason Isaac Fields and his sex partner, Tracy Banks, a fake gang stalking mother who conspired against my life with her sex partner, this fake friend, this corrupt government actor, Jason Isaac Fields, in furtherance of committing my murder, accomplishing my murder, because these demons wanted to steal property and money that belongs to me, that I still remain dispossessed of, while I am a transient, and the demons are watching me expose them on the internet, and the entity is intentionally withholding property that belongs to me. Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison, and so is Tracy Banks. And there is no provision of information. These two cowards say they turn over evidence to the federal government because they want a lesser penalty. It's going to include federal prison. They're not avoiding federal prison, based on what an American citizen has a right to never, ever be subject to, including demons that are stalking with leaf blowers because they're monitoring their delusional psychopaths who are demons acting in furtherance of murder, and they cannot stand to hear the truth while they're still obsessively stalking. All right? That's the entity. You're going to federal prison. So there's no provision of evidence where you're going to avoid that. And the federal government is in no position, by the way, to negotiate out of what justice requires when a government is conspiring against the life of an American citizen. The federal government doesn't have the authority to do that. So you are at the most negotiating what is a lesser consequence, but you are going to federal prison. Okay? This is P.O.C. This is Brightview that was gang stalking yesterday, and they're gang stalking with Alan D. WAPNER, pacing on the grounds of the Ontario Town Square in the same way that they're pacing in traffic while the Ontario International Airport is stalking using planes. It's the same criminal cooperation under a fake sun that you know is setting here. Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are going to federal prison, and those that are following behind those intellectually impotent demons, they're dummies. They're sexually creative dummies, no brain power, just high libido, okay? And by high libido, those are perverts. They're pedophiles. They engage in sexually perverted and demented and dysfunctional conduct. That the entities engaging in nothing that is admirable or acceptable whatsoever. These are sex offenders that are Jezebel spirits. That's what's wrong with their high promiscuity. Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are leading with regard to those who are going to federal prison. All right, it is currently 7:39 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, you will see the Ontario International Airport gang stalking, and pay attention to where I'm located, where the fake sun is located now, while the entity engages in criminal summoning based on documentation of where the Ontario International Airport is concentrating plane activity. That is the entity that's engaging in conduct, which is not in conformity to what's published on the website, where the fire department is gang stalking, just like you saw last night at ARCO, while I'm publishing evidence. The demons are under the fake sun at Ontario Town Square, stalking. Exhibit A, that's mental illness by demons that engage in stalking using fire trucks instead of what is firefighting using fire trucks. That's criminal summoning under the fake sun that's still here 10 hours from now. This is P.O.C. The entity is engaging in what is the use of fire trucks as audible activity, light activity, just like they were in engineer light in the middle of the night, monitoring. They're doing so in engineer light right now during the day, driving on the same Euclid Avenue in Ontario between Holt Boulevard and E Street, where the fake sun does not go any farther and it is setting. And that's how you know that Michael GERKEN is engaged in what is pedophilia, protection of pedophiles, and that system surrounding pedophilia, where all the gang stalkers are engaged in what is monitoring me, and doing so pursuant to what is knowledge about what I'm publishing online about the Ontario International Airport, who you will see in images at 8:05 a.m., where the entity is maintaining published evidence about August 20th today departures from the Ontario International Airport, which would occur miles away from here, and will not include any flights coming up to, remember, they're not flying in front or over or extending beyond me. They're flying up to where my person is positioned, and then they're engaging in what is a U-turn. That's the back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. That's the pacing. That's a demon. They're also doing it. Context is that the fake sun is no longer at 415 North Euclid Avenue. The fake sun's over me at Ontario Town Square, where the demons of the Brightview are surrounding the city of Ontario, stalking in the path at the C Street turn circle with light activity. I took pictures of all this. The demons are stalking while they're holding leaf blowers and hoses and tools with regard to what's supposed to appear on the surface as landscaping. They're all in engineered light while the entity is stalking with commercial planes. Commercial planes, including which Securitas is gang stalking me with, while they are in relevant position in engineered light. Remember, the Ontario Town Square is documented having the fake sun. That's what I documented on what is August 16th, 2025. I believe. Let me look at that date when I have the fake sun at this venue, the same venue, on at 6:50 p.m. That's what's relevant to the entity engaging in what is flights that are not have nothing to do with arrivals and departures published on the website that Alan D. Wapner is seeking to conceal stalking. One person. This is documentation that was captured on August 17th, 6:50 p.m., where the Ontario International Airport should be having departures coming from the airport at 2500 Airport Drive, Terminal 2 and Terminal 4, 2900 Airport Drive. There are no takeoffs from the airport where you're engaging in what is flight at a sharp incline into the sky space, where you are 3-4 miles later hovering over Ontario Town Square at 224 North Euclid Avenue. But it's also relevant that not only the elevation and the donut conduct, the U-turn behavior, flying over here and then making a U-turn, they're getting in alignment with where I am. This is gang stalking, stalking in the path, and the amplified plane activity coexists, where the fake sun is also moving where I'm moving. That's also showing that pilots are stalking me. These are demons who are engaging in what is an ongoing shared sacrifice. And this is published information regarding what is a failed sacrifice, because I'm not dead already, because their witchcraft is not effective and it's not going to work. And the demons are sitting around waiting for a federal raid and hopeful that the demonic spirits that they summoned up don't take their life in the middle of the night. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct as a fire department, as a police department, as an airport, where they practice this satanic system, and it's stalking, it's surveillance, and it's also the conspiracy to murder. That's what's relevant, because on the Ontario International Airport website, I already took a screenshot of it, and at what is 8:05 a.m., 8 a.m. and 8:14 a.m. Frontier Airlines is the one that's published at 8 a.m., which is headed toward Las Vegas. There is no flight in this direction, or any flight that's going to include flying west and then making a U-turn that has anything to go with going toward Las Vegas. Okay. In addition to that, just common sense. The entity is engaging in what is clear stalking under the fake sun. I'm just giving you common sense bases of recognizing this is no mystery whatsoever. And the demons are very much obsessed. Understand that this criminal monitoring system is based on obsession with me. These are pilots who are obsessed with me. They are obsessed with my genitalia that they should not have any knowledge of, but they do, because they've been keeping my vagina under surveillance for years. This is the sexual violence that Tracy Banks, a gang stalking mother, an incestuous sex offender, a pedophile, shares in. She engages in her sexual obsession with my vagina with her sex partner, Jason Isaac Fields, both sexually obsessed with me, even though there is no extensive relationship between us. I never married him. I never had any children with him. I never had a relationship with him. He is literally a stranger whose name I know. Okay? And he's still engaged in what is gang stalking in hopes. Satan doesn't have any hope. But this is what they're doing, delaying justice. Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. If there is any existing real property that Jason Isaac Fields is residing in, the federal government is going to be prosecuted, while I am documenting as a transient and living in this sort of circumstance while the entity is trying to get away with murdering me. That's why they're gang stalking in such extraordinary manners, such as having nothing to do with the business of a whole airport that's concentrating on little old me stalking me. Because the criminal system, which is government conduct, includes surveillance by the police, the fire department, and that city airport, where they're demons engaging in that sacrifice together. That's why Frontier Airlines is not engaged in what is arriving and departing. It's specifically a departure at what is 8 a.m. The demons are engaging what is using a white plane. You'll see flying and engaging in a U-turn. They're in the process of making a U-turn, and that has nothing to do with any sort of takeoff from the airport. That's then engaging in what is the pattern of stalking, getting in the path, and going in the opposite direction. These are demons who are pacing. This is what you're looking at on the roads and the highways. It's not traffic. They're pacing. They're in the engineer light. They're pacing. Engineer light is shooting across over my person and on the wall. They're pacing. And this is what they're doing using commercial planes. And the documentation also includes what I took a screenshot of. The Ontario International Airport, which is miles away, which is requiring targeting, hovering throughout the city, miles away from the airport, to then engage in what is a U-turn over here to participate in the criminal elements of monitoring, where gang stalking pilots associated with airlines that you know the name of, where you've seen them on the news associated with plane crashes, they are engaged in sacrificing American citizens. That is committing murder. It's acts of terrorism. And these demons are addicted to the ones that they are targeting because of their condition, demon possession. They are also mentally ill. Their mental illness is what is resulting in what is this psychopathic and criminal behavior. Okay, Michael GERKEN is stalking, lurking in a, well, not physically him. It could be this demon, but Michael GERKEN is the demon that's going to be removed from position, while demons are lurking in a fire truck, waiting to, with simultaneity, sound sirens and lights as I begin recording the evidence of stalking in a commercial plane, because of the concerted conduct amongst the demons who are gang stalking in Ontario under a fake sun that is not in alignment with 415 North Euclid Avenue. It's not in alignment with what is Economy Inn, like I'm documenting in the morning when I'm at that hotel. It's certainly not in Monrovia, California, outside of Courtyard by Marriott, over my hotel room window, which I'm documenting. And that fake sun never leaves from that hotel over me, which would be the case in a natural environment. But the entity is keeping the fake sun here. And you know that it's still here in the evening, because that's what I documented on Friday, August 15, 2025, where this same city of Ontario is stalking me on this same street using helicopter and airplane. Doing so through the demons that are pacing on this same street. EUCLID, a population of demons sharing a demonic condition, sharing a criminal pattern of conduct. And it is obvious where the entity is maintaining a list that Alan D. WAPNER is intentionally making deceptive, while the flights that are included with regard to keeping me under surveillance are not published on that website. There is no flight from the airport at 2500 and 2900 Airport Drive. That includes flight over the Ontario Town Square, flight in alignment to Ontario Town Square, engaging what is a U-turn while hovering over the Ontario Town Square and flying back in opposite direction. That has nothing to do with Frontier Airlines August 20th, 8 a.m. flight from what is flight number, F92232, going toward Las Vegas. That has nothing to do with what would be the 8:14 a.m. flight by American Airlines, flight number AA2893, going toward Dallas-Fort Worth. This is the entity that's engaged in what is clear, irreconcilable evidence of targeting using commercial planes, targeting in every manner, including the Ontario International Airport, which, by the way, I've been documenting the timestamps of what the airport publishes and what these demons of the unintelligent demons of the Ontario International Airport have been doing. I've been publishing this. This is back at Woodside Senior Apartments. I was taking screenshots. What does the website say? What is Alan D. WAPNER representing? And what is Alan D. WAPNER actually doing? And it never includes flying what is even more northwest from this location here, engaging in a U-turn while it's creating what is light activity, audible activity, and relevant positioning, while the co-defendants are all stalking on Euclid Avenue, stalking inside of Wells Fargo, stalking at Mule Car, stalking at as Brightview in the city of Ontario, right here at this property of the Ontario Town Square. Those are co-defendants sharing in the demonic ritual of pacing all around me with light while the demons take their turn using commercial planes. Surrounding me. That's the obsession of the demons. Every corner, every angle over and around me stalking in a whole cartoon environment. Those are demons that crash planes into mountains, into bodies of water, and into each other, murdering American citizens. All right. The entity is doing so while I've been capturing screenshots, evidence of what is published, what is represented by a corrupt government that's engaging in what is a sacrifice of an American citizen, psychologically torturing, terrorizing, harassing, sexually violating, and engaging in what is keeping under surveillance an American citizen. And this is solicited by terrorists such as Jason Isaac Fields, who is living in property that belongs to me, living off of property, personal property, money, assets that belongs to me, has been doing so for a prolonged period. The entity is engaging in what is this pattern of conduct. You're going to federal prison for it. Okay, it is currently 8:17 a.m. where the government set this ball in motion, and that ball is still in motion. Never mind the entity that's planning to engage in a raid, planning to engage in an arrest, while the American citizen remains under threat. Okay, and the entity is engaging in this, hopeful of that. The federal government does not want to be prosecuted, but that's too late. I'm going to prosecute the federal government for what it is permitted, for what it never should have engaged in the first place. This is the lawlessness of demons that are stalking in things such as commercial planes, where it will never, like you hear in the background, be a part of what is the business of a legitimate airport that's taken off from that airport, and none of it's going to be in the sky space of Ontario Town Square, hovering, creating any plane activity, competing with my voice, creating any coexisting light activity. This is the entity that's sharing in the elements of monitoring. Okay, that's 8:18 a.m. where the entity is engaging in that at the Ontario Town Square. 8:14 a.m. American Airlines, like I stated, going toward what is Dallas Fort Worth, and the entity is engaging in this while flying miles away from the airport, which is again targeting evidence of targeting, not evidence of a plane. American Airlines in particular is the one that's published on the website when I took the screenshot at 9:43 p.m. Understand the entity that's engaged in what is ongoing monitoring. They can add to and take away. None of it has anything to do with takeoffs from airports. When you take off in planes from airports, you are not hovering throughout the city, going to other locations, engaging in a perpetual takeoff. You take off from that airport and you maintain that flight, and you are immediately looking at what is actually a beautiful sight when you can see all of the terrain beneath you, not what the Ontario International Airport and all of the airlines, including Frontier and American Airlines, they are gang stalkers, but this is not those flights that they're maintaining over me. And none of the gang stalking is published on the website. Okay, none of the gang stalking is headed toward Vegas. You're not taking off from the airport, flying miles away, hovering and doing so, and then rising in elevation from Ontario Town Square, and then going in the direction east toward what is Las Vegas, Nevada. You're not taking off from the airport, perpetually hovering and then rising in elevation miles away from that airport to then head toward Dallas, Fort Worth. The entity is engaging in what is, again, lacking any common sense, and that's because the demons that commit murder have never faced what is any level of scrutiny or investigation or exposure. Alan D. Wapner is going to be subject to a very severe public exposure and removal from office for this very criminal conduct, which he is aiding a gang-stalking police department in, because he is aiding in the conspiracy to commit murder, seeking to profit from it. Remember, the entity that's gang stalking, these pilots, these police departments, these fire departments, these demons that are gang stalking on the roads and highways, the entity has been paid to engage in surveillance, paid with money that doesn't belong to them. Okay, so I just want to be clear, there is no negotiation that the government has. The government's not the one that's leading the investigation about the conspiracy to murder me. The government's not the one that is publishing the evidence so that the federal government is indeed forced to acknowledge what it would be inclined to conceal. The federal government is not the one that exposed these domestic terrorists. The federal government is not the one that has any jurisdiction in the first place to engage in gang stalking, whether that specific agency is a part of it or not. It's the same public entity. Okay, this corrupt system is the same government that is going to provide justice. So you have the cockroaches that are going to be subject to justice, while the federal government is going to be forced to acknowledge the criminal conduct that it has been engaging in for years. This is not new. The P.O.C. is forcing the government to acknowledge what they've been engaging in. And while they're doing so, the federal government is not the one that conducted the investigation, that provided the body of evidence that is relevant to what else the government is doing in California and in this country, by the way. And the federal government is thereby also not in any position to negotiate the rights away of an American citizen. You can negotiate with somebody that wants to provide evidence. You do whatever you do, whatever. The entity, you're not avoiding federal prison. I'm going to let you know that right now, whoever you are. You can provide evidence against your co-defendants today, because you're all psychopaths. You're all going to providing evidence against each other, because these are cowards, these are demons, and they're very fearful, and they are not equipped for justice, which is what is going to be, which is going to entail necessary federal prison, especially for gang stalking pilots, gang stalking police officers, those that are engaging in the pattern of conduct with the level of impunity that these public officials exhibit. And this is a lesson that the gang stalkers throughout this country are going to learn. When you see gang stalking officials deported out of this country because there is no exception under the federal law, when you see gang stalking public officials being faced with prison time because there's no exception under federal law, when you're seeing corrupt government actors facing prison time, when you are watching the people of the state, fake family members and friends that thought that they could conspire because they think that they're so capable and intelligent and untouchable because a bunch of imps that work for the local police department, those imps are going to prison, and so is the gang stalking friends and family. All right. When they witness this in the world and in this nation and on the news, the entity that exists throughout this country is going to think twice. I guarantee it. But not only that, the purposes behind this, the federal policy is that the federal government that did not expose the system, that did not force the hand of itself to provide justice. The federal government is not in any position to negotiate the rights away of an American citizen. You are entitled to federal prison of those that target you and further into trying to murder you, like what Jason Isaac Fields has committed. And claiming that you're ignorant is insufficient. You have a responsibility to make sure that what you're doing is not threatening the life of another person that has a right to not be subject to it. You are beyond what is derelict and incompetent, and you're going to federal prison for it. And by the way, these are demons. He's not innocent. He's not ignorant. That's why he's relying on voodoo to hoping for a change result, because this coward doesn't want to go to federal prison. But that's where he will get all the gay sex that he can dream of, because this is what he's been doing for years. Summoning demonic spirits, engaging in homosexuality, group sex, all right? Having sex with pedophiles, while he would deny ever having sex with children, but he has sex with pedophiles. I don't know that that's so much of a difference with regard to what is the immorality behind that, with regard to also what Christ Jesus is looking at when you are engaging what the pedophile's objective is, when you are working hand in hand with pedophiles, and then you want to appear as though you're different. Oh, I just had group sex with the pedophiles. I just engaged in what is helping them accomplish their crime as a system of criminal monitoring where pedophiles are engaging in it, but I myself am not a pedophile, meaning I specifically have not penetrated a child. All right, you're getting to what is very much semantics, all right, with regard to what is violating children and permitting the ongoing systematic violation of children. You're going to federal prison for that, and the federal government is not helping you. The federal government is going to enforce justice that the federal government is forced to provide to me based on my providing the evidence to put you away. And while I remain subject to it as a transient, and you're living in property that belongs to me, spending money that belongs to me, and you're calling it an investigation, while context is that you're practicing witchcraft, hoping that there's a turn of events because you don't want to sit in prison. You're going to federal prison. And under the law, there shall be no negotiation out of that. You're talking about out of that consequence altogether? Absolutely not. You're going to federal prison. And your provision of evidence is not going to avoid that consequence. It may be a tool with regard to a lesser, but you are not avoiding it altogether. You are going to federal prison. And this is what you're listening to. Jason Isaac Fields is a predator. He is incompetent and disqualified to be in the position that he was in the first place. While he would like to feign ignorance, while he's practicing witchcraft and targeting me in the spirit and having a prolonged sexual relationship with Tracy Banks for years. This is the demon that's engaged in this P.O.C. He is going to federal prison based on that criminal engagement and that pattern of conduct. And this is what the entity has been engaged in with Tracy Banks for years. This is how she's recruiting gang stalking police departments like the Ontario Police Department. How many of them of that department are familiar with Tracy Banks' genitalia? All right. They're engaging in what is targeting. They've been compensated to target me. They're being disbanded for repeatedly kidnapping with Tracy Banks. All right. Jason Isaac Fields is not the only sex partner / partner in crime against me. Corrupt law enforcement officials, not the first. But again, part of what is a list of those who are going to federal prison. Okay. And this is just relevant, a common sense public service announcement. Be careful who you lay down with. Okay, because you might get up with demons. It's currently 8:26 a.m. or STDs. All right, just to be clear, the ongoing criminal monitoring is underway not only while the demons of the Ontario Fire Department, this is a corrupt agency that's engaging in state surveillance, federal stalking under Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. And this is also analysis of that criminal activity, of that public corruption, of that behavioral pattern in that specific environment. The Ontario Fire Department, that you hear gang stalking while they sound their sirens, while I capture them on video. There's a body of evidence of the Ontario Fire Department, which is the same government, the state. It's a public entity. When you're understanding what the federal government is doing in the states, in this country, and it's demonic. They're engaged in what is domestic terrorism and psychological torture with regard to the umbrella of all of the offenses inherent to within the criminal pattern of conduct of what is gang stalking, which is committed by this fire department in furtherance of committing murder while they are engaging in this satanic sacrifice, and it's a failed one. This is under the corrupt leadership of Michael GERKEN. The Ontario Fire Department is in the same plaza where I'm capturing the Ontario Town Square, the fake sun that remains remains, as I documented on Sunday, August 17, 2025, until after 6:50 p.m. This is where the entity is engaging in what is criminal summoning. All they're doing is pacing and laps around me, monitoring, lurking in fire trucks, and it's so embarrassing. It's so pathetic to engage in what is supposed to be a noble position to being cockroaches and sex offenders, pedophiles, stalking in the middle of the night, stalking during the day, having nothing else to do. You're acting like you're doing something. That's so pathetic. This is what Michael Gerken and the Ontario Fire Department are engaging in. This is what the entire entity that's engaging in. They're acting like they're engaging in normal everyday life, minding their business, doing their job, going about, being with their family. They're all under the fakes. This is the setting where the demon possessed are maintaining a whole illusion, while the thing is the P.O.C. The substance of the thing is the P.O.C. These are the demons that are psychopaths. Michael Gerken is gang stalking, and the Ontario Fire Department is located in the same plaza at 425 East B Street in Ontario, California. Just want to put that on the record. I've been documenting for years the Ontario Fire Department gang stalking, engaging in criminal summoning, which is the chief means whereby a fire department is monitoring. Okay, so everywhere that they're going, somebody, if it's not a fire, most of the time it's not, because they're engaging in what is any excuse in the specific environment for why is the fire department there. Okay, obviously they're doing so. It's going to center around there's an emergency and someone's having a panic attack and we need someone to come give us some medical attention. And here come the demons of the Ontario Fire Department and American Medical Response. You saw a vivid illustration of this at Woodside Senior Apartments. While the entity I'm capturing screen recording and the fake sun is over me at the same time where LAPD is gang stalking me by helicopter, fake sun in its zenith over my head. We're in Ontario, California at Woodside Senior Apartments, where, by the way, the fake sun's never going to be over Ontario Town Square where Tracy Banks is gang stalking me where she lives. But nonetheless, the fake sun is remaining over that Woodside Senior Apartments at the same time, in the same manner that it is on the same day, where I'm juxtaposing the crime scene of what LAPD, that is the state of California, is doing with what the entity is doing in Ontario. Ontario Fire Department is gang stalking with the police as well, Ontario PD. And this is how you're getting to the gang stalking law enforcement agencies who are going to be subject to federal prison. And that's because they commit kidnappings. They bear weapons to commit murder while they're gang stalking. And that's why police officers are gang stalking. And that's going to be dealt with regard to what is not law enforcement. They are not even to be acknowledged as police officers. They're not to be discussed with regard to this domestic terrorism and even giving them that sort of acknowledgement as police officers. They're not. They're not. This is not law enforcement, and they're not police officers. Law enforcement and police officers are not gang stalkers. They're not pedophiles. They're not covert psychopaths. Okay? And they are not supposed to be either. And intelligent and responsible discourse of this system that is being exposed is going to require that. A deliberate, conscious effort and making sure that those that are engaging in this system are not even given and confused with in discussion with those that are actually engaged in law enforcement and those that are gang stalking demons, those that are part of corrupt agencies like that, and they don't even know it. All right, they don't even know it while they're engaging in the pattern of conduct as a department. All right, now I want to be clear. That's an exception. It's as much of an exception as I am the targeted individual amongst a population of demons. So the entity, oh, that's me. No, it's not. Okay, the population, the majority is engaging in this P.O.C., and that's not cynicism. This is the reality. This is what I've shown you is going on in California. All right, so the entity is, but I want to be clear. This is very much relevant to the entity that is capable of hiring, for example, the targeted individual just to sacrifice them. And then it's reported on the news, oh, there was a shooting, and we lost our partner, our new recruitee. You know, oh, these are demons that committed a sacrifice. And this is the entity that engages in such conduct, only hiring in order to sacrifice them, which they secretly rejoice in. And they also engage in what is mockery. They'll attend the funeral. They'll give the highest honor to the family. And they have committed a sacrifice which is in service to Satan, which they believe causes them to be blessed in their life. This is what's going on. So like I said, somebody that is not of this condition, that does not know what's going on, can very much apply to be in law enforcement. And that corrupt agency that knows that you don't know what's going on will engage in the P.O.C. in the form of hiring the target individual in order to sacrifice you. And then guess who's the one that is committing that crime of killing a police officer? It's the people of the state that they're gang stalking with, that they play cops and robbers with. All right, and then the entity is reporting that news, just giving you another iteration of the same conduct that you see on the news. This is P.O.C. while the entity is using small government planes, while I'm documenting the entity gang stalking like they are every other day, the Ontario International Airport. And the Ontario International Airport is still gang stalking while the government uses a small plane, which you saw flying over my head at 9:47 p.m. last night, and you know that they're stalking me now. You know that they're all stalking because the fake sun is at one address where the Ontario Fire Department is gang stalking. Again, the state facilitating venue where you have demons, a part of that fire department, that are engaging in monitoring, the most pathetic posture that human beings can be found in. And trying to associate that position, it's literally the defilement of those who are supposed to be in positions of nobility and positions of what are supposed to be heroes, and they are associated with and defiled by Satanism, pedophilia, what is criminal activity, corruption, and what is all manner of mental illness, okay? And that's just the reality of gang stalking police departments and gang stalking fire departments, which is what Michael GERKEN and the Ontario Fire Department represent. And to note, they are in relevant position inside of the same plaza where the fake sun is rising and setting. Just want to make sure that that's clear. The Ontario City Hall in relevant position as well, this same venue located at 303 East B Street in Ontario, California. And I've documented all of these state facilitating venues targeting me while the fake sun is over me while I stand in front of those venues. It's already sitting on the record. So like I said, all they're doing is stalking me. That's what the evidence proves, and they're still stalking and monitoring while the federal government is sitting back, while I am in the position still suffering damages for which no demon is going to negotiate their way out of federal prison. And while you're witnessing this, while I'm documenting, and while I've provided what is justice for myself, because a corrupt government puts an American citizen in this plight, this is the plight of one that is facing what is an inevitable demise. So says the demons, but not Christ Jesus. You're going to federal prison while I am suffering damages that I am intentionally publishing on the venue of the internet, and you're not negotiating your way out of that. You're going to federal prison, all right? And they know who they are because they're listening. It is currently 8:41 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, the entity engaging in gang stalking. This is federal stalking that happens with regard to the use of communication devices. So, for example, when I'm inside of Tracy Banks' apartment and she is pacing inside of that apartment, she's stalking inside of her apartment because everything is taken on the context of the specific environment. And these are demons that thought that they were intelligent enough that they could stalk someone in their face and no one sees them. And that's because they're demons. So they're engaging in what is the use of illusions, the use of an alternate reality in order to falsely depict another person's character. And actually psychopaths engage in the use of magic and witchcraft to engage in torturing and targeting another person. And it includes stalking in Tracy Banks' apartment, where the Ontario police are routinely targeting with amplified helicopter activity while the fake sun's over her apartment and engineer light fills her apartment and Tracy Banks is on her phone. She's engaging in what is the use of a communication device as a means of surveillance. The use of devices in the specific environment is for purposes of monitoring as well. It is occurring in that specific environment, and it coexists with the gang stalking of the Ontario police, and that's what the entity is doing. I'm documenting them flying over, stalking, while the fake sun is over me. The Ontario Police Department, which is located at 2500 South Archibald Drive, where I've also documented the fake sun being over me not only in the morning, but in the evening after 4 p.m. These are demons, and these are demons that have access to helicopters. These are the demons that are going to be disbanded, and they are monitoring with the demon that is on the communication device in the way that Tracy Banks is engaged in documented targeting me, in the way that Eric Corey Spencer is documented targeting using communication devices in that specific environment. And I'm capturing images of that, and I'm also capturing screenshots of that. The fake sun is over me at 8:52 a.m. at the 224 North Euclid Avenue, where it's still present at 6:50 p.m., where Southwest Airlines, the Ontario International Airport, is sharing in the same criminal pattern of conduct, obsessing and stalking me in furtherance of committing murder. That is the evidence that's putting Alex Escobar in federal prison, and he does not have a legal argument. I'm going to let you know that right now. He also does not, nor do any of these demons maintain any due process rights as police officers. They're not police officers, they're terrorism. They're terrorists. And that's exactly how they're going to be treated. And this is the distinction between the federal laws governing gang stalking and those that are given due process rights as police officers, where you don't just lose your job. And that's understood. This is not policing, though, and the federal law is going to acknowledge that and treat them accordingly. The Ontario police is being disbanded, okay? They're gang stalking by helicopter. That's audible activity, relevant positioning, and amplified helicopter activity is the audible means. While they're flying over the square, which is a terrorizing threat also to the targeted individual, while Brightview is still the same demonic entity, Securitas, the same demonic entity, they're just using the helicopter that's attributed with the criminals that are the Ontario police. Now, the entities engaged in criminal conduct that their partners are going to be prosecuted for as well, because this is ongoing context regarding what they're all doing, and it's you all know, and so do the feds all know what the entity is doing, and they're doing it on the venue at the same time. The entity at the Ontario Town Square is gang stalking. This is the fire department that's stalking me with the police. This is the Ontario City Hall, Paul Leon, Alan D. Wapner, the Ontario International Airport are gang stalking me with the Ontario police, and a population of demons that are sharing in what is an unsuccessful sacrifice as I break down what it is that they're doing, what they know while they do it, and what they also know is that it's being documented with regard to an American citizen's right to not be terrorized by by the U.S. government where you are holding what are constitutional and human rights. That's what's relevant to a demon flying an Ontario Police Department helicopter at 8:52 a.m. while I am in use of the communication device while the people of the state call my phone as a means of activity creation. It's a particularly malicious method. Eric Corey Spencer, Tracy Banks, Daryl Mandy, you have what is Andre Petty, Diane Petty. You have the people of the state, in other words, as I already documented, as I already stated, Tracy Banks' phone records are relevant to the entity that's acting in concert together. These demons are driving around this turn circle, the same impossible light sweeping all across while the demons are stalking in a helicopter. The Ontario Police is being disbanded, and so the criminal conduct that's happening, the concerted criminal conduct, is relevant to the malice of the people of the state. And these are fools, baboons, okay, monkey poo for brains, while they're engaging in criminal conspiracy and their co-defendant, they're already established, meaning you already know that this person robs banks. They have a criminal record and an elaborate one, and so does the other partner, and they're engaging in the conduct together while they're gang stalking. This is the entity that's engaging with pacing all around me with impossible light under the fake sun, where the fake sun is still present like you saw at 6 p.m. where that same department of demons in helicopter at the same property on this same street are flying in circles over me by helicopter, but you are supposed to be the one that's capable of being defamed by these psychopaths? I don't think so. And because of that level of malice, how do they get away with defaming the American citizens? Because they're corrupt, because they're murderers, because they're kidnappers, not because they're intelligent. This is under no circumstances even remotely close to anything intelligent at all. These are baboons. These are Neanderthals. They are pedophiles. They are monsters. There's nothing other than demon-possessed stalkers. Their mental illness is rooted in what is the use of too much witchcraft, too much magic, the reliance upon illusions, the entity that's engaging in what is the criminal conduct, and they're going to be prosecuted by those illusions. Okay? The prosecution is based on what is exposing reality and what they're actually doing and the malice inherent to that. And that is designed to psychologically murder and also engage in what is a homicide. A homicide that's not committed by an individual, it's a homicide committed by an entity. And this is that entity that acts on behalf of, again, the sex partners of Tracy Banks of the Ontario Police Department, compensated through property that belongs to me, while the Ontario Police Department, a bunch of pedophiles, stalking me in the middle of the night, molesting with impossible light activity, and you're looking at them stalking me in helicopter, and it is specific to me. That's why the supernatural is present over me, while the elements of monitoring underway. They're gang stalking. It's criminal surveillance, not law enforcement. And there are no due process rights for gang stalking terrorist leaders like Mike Lorenz and the demons of the Ontario Police Department. And they're going to find themselves in that predicament. They're going to experience it. They're being disbanded, and they are going to federal prison. It's currently 9 a.m. on the dot, as you can hear. At 224 North Euclid Avenue, those images will be uploaded to the Google Drive. The entity engaged in the P.O.C. in the same manner that the Ontario International Airport is targeting me by flight over this town square, where there are no arrivals or takeoffs from the airport. You are necessarily flying miles away from that airport. And then what is, again, remember, it's not even the plane activity that you hear. Everything is on a microphone. It's demonic. It's as demonic as the fake sun that's over my head while they do it. These are the demons that are going to be prosecuted for their ongoing failed sacrifice, which I'm publishing all over the internet. It is put in a palatable manner in order to prosecute in a federal court, where no demon is impervious to a prosecution. Satan himself is being exposed through a corrupt government and a corrupt community. And it's the state of California that's gang stalking. Okay, again, Mike Lorenz, his state facilitating venue at the crime scene of the Ontario Police Department, where I've also documented at all of these state facilitating venues, the fake sun over my head, which is a supernatural occurrence. And this is speaking to what every other gang stalking department, such as San Diego Police Department off of 1401 Broadway in San Diego, California, and the fake sun is over the top of my head at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, how does that happen? Because they're stalking in an environment as an entity, and they're demons. Because at 1 o'clock, there's a group of demons that are going to federal prison at the OVITT Family Community Library. And they're standing around 1:07 p.m. stalking. That's also evidence about what they're doing right now. These are demons that don't have any level of intellect. They're only obsessed and addicted. They're only delusional. Okay? These are demons. Demons are spirits, dark spirits, and they're using the bodies of people that are going to federal prison. That's why you have this level of dumb behavior. There's evidence that's already surrounding what's going on hours from now when you're looking at that same department. You're looking at that same badge. You're looking at that same pattern of impossible light activity. That's never happening when you're just driving your car. This is the entity that's engaging in that which is terrorizing. It is traumatizing. It's harassing. It is that which is designed, in other words, to psychologically torture, while you're always being perpetually followed and pursued with that, while you have murderers that want to masquerade as police officers who are acting towards your demise because they've been paid to take you out in concert with the people of the state. The Ontario Police are being disbanded. There's never going to be a sun in its zenith over my head of the San Diego Police Department and over the OVITT Family Community Library. And that's exactly what the evidence is going to make sure that they are treated as the terrorists that they are. There shall be no due process rights. You don't have any constitutional rights to engage in terrorism. And you don't have any due process rights as gang stalkers masquerading as police departments. Prepare to witness the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. And they are always on an ongoing basis at this point, because the prosecution is done, exhibiting why they need severe well, I don't want to say severe, but an intense program regarding the treatments inherent to the mental illness of these closeted psychopaths who don't want to be known, and they don't have a choice. They're already known. And all I do is point my camera up to show you how they're stalking me day and night, monitoring my vagina. What do you think is going on when the Ontario Police is stalking me by helicopter as I walk out of the OVITT Family Community Library, the same venue, after I walk out of the bathroom, and they're stalking and monitoring, flying in circles, pacing over this. They're monitoring my vagina. It's 9:03 a.m. The sun is not going to be at the same venue, but that's where they are engaging in the sex offense of monitoring the genitalia of the target individual. You're going to witness the disbanding of a gang member that wants to be referred to as a police department. Satan is being removed from his position, okay? That he has stolen from those that will not serve him, and more importantly, will not engage in what is the corruption of gang stalking, like the Ontario Police, like Michael LORENZ has, and before him, Derek Williams. Okay, all under what is the corrupt leadership of what is Paul Leon. A bunch of demons, a bunch of psychopaths stalking with light fanning all over the library while they're stalking with the Ontario Police Department. These are psychopaths that then go into the bathroom. They want to crouch beside me while they know my vagina is exposed in the bathroom. Those sex offenders, those pedophiles that are stalking as a means of a population, and then they go on to the rest of they go pick up their latte from Starbucks, and then they go on with the rest of the day to go sit in the office while they engage in a little bit of gang stalk, a little bit of terrorism, a little bit of sexual violence en route to work. Okay, it is currently 9:04 a.m. This is reflected in the images that'll be uploaded to the Google Drive. This is P.O.C. All right, another iteration of the same P.O.C. Ongoing surveillance while the demons of the city of Ontario. This is again criminal conduct on behalf of Paul Leon. The city of Ontario, the extraordinarily thunderous crashing of dumpsters while demons are monitoring. The dumpster truck is flashing of lights, the same demonic pattern under the fake sun, doing so while they are monitoring, sitting in, engaging in surveillance. License 7YJF526, 8NJZ362. They're also monitoring with the police and with the airport as well. 87129Y2. This is the entity that's gang stalking. You'll see at the 280 North Lemon Apartments. You'll see the fake sun shining, where the fake sun is still present, where Ontario Police are gang stalking at 4 o'clock, driving on this same street. At 6 p.m., parked at this same location, the street that I'm walking on right now, where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking with Brightview. Businesses I'm going to prosecute. Gang stalking businesses. Support Suppose You Drive, headquartered in Ontario, California, stalking with impossible light across an apartment building while they are stalking me. License 43805L3. I've been documenting Suppose You Drive. Their headquarters on Holt Boulevard. It's speaking to what is the breaks as you'll see the fake sun. That's a business that's engaging in domestic terrorism and demonic activity. My shadow's on that vehicle. That's Impossible Light. Again, Suppose You Drive, headquartered in Ontario, California. This little mom and pop company is not going to survive. 43805L3. That's P.O.C. and that's also impunity. Okay? While a bunch of demons are all stalking me and they all share in what is worshiping my vagina. That's what you need to know about Brightview and Suppose You Drive, these corrupt gang stalking businesses who have demons operating these businesses. These demons worship my genitalia, and it's the homosexual conduct of gang stalking females like who you see in the passenger seat under the fake sun at 280 North Lemon Apartments, bearing license 7YJF526, while this demon paces 43805L3. This is a hefty, chunky face Latino, and gang stalking immigrants are going to be deported. Okay, so Brightview hiring immigrants that are gang stalking, the City of Ontario hiring immigrants that are gang stalking, the Brightview hiring immigrants that are gang stalking, the apartment complexes hiring immigrants that are gang stalking, any venue. But the entity likes to engage in the pattern of conduct while they are of immigrant status, they're getting deported. They are getting deported. Okay, and I want to be clear, it's not just those that engage in the hospitality industry. Because immigrants that are serving a position of authority, such as the Arcadia fire chief, any Monrovia fire police chief, I don't care what I'm just giving you an examples. You're going to find yourself deported. Terrorism is the line, and you're going to be deported. And you think that there's in your mind, because you thought it was a good idea to, in the face of the federal government and in real time on the venue of the internet, you thought it was a good idea to engage in this conduct at this point, at this juncture in the first place. You also are delusional with regard to staying in this country, regardless of who you think you are, and you are of an immigrant status. You don't have a privilege anymore to be here. It is thereby revoked by engaging in domestic terrorism, as I'm documenting it. All right, this is the P.O.C. It's currently 9:14 a.m. That's the pattern of conduct. Those images will be uploaded. It's the same pattern of conduct, an iteration, another iteration of the same P.O.C. The demons of the City of Ontario, monitoring sex offenders, monitoring me in every private space, in every hotel in Ontario. The ongoing thunderous noise reverberating throughout the whole city. The sound of the dumpsters crashing. It's amplified audible activity. That light is a demonic means of peculiarized light, the flashing of light. That flashing of light is occurring in engineered light. They're monitoring. It's surveillance. It's a demon that's engaging what is using a dumpster truck while they're on the surface appearing to be engaging in what are the duties of the municipality, services providing the courtesy of the residents of the city. The municipality is a gang stalker. And Paul Leon is going to be removed from office for it. He's a gang stalker. All right, and he is monitoring while I'm at the Ontario Town Square, and he is what is east of me at 303 East B Street, gang stalking. Okay, it's 9:15 a.m. where the entity is engaged in all manner of terrorism, flight by helicopter, planes, and doing so under a fake sun, stalking with impossible light, a population of murderers and pedophiles stalking me together. This ongoing scene of domestic terrorism is relevant to the removal of the gang stalking officials and the prosecution of the people of the state. Namely, I want to be clear, Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Phillips, who thought that they could pay for my demise. And this is why this ongoing criminal system is still underway. And what is going to happen instead of that is the entity has sacrificed itself, and it's going to be the deportation, the disbanding, the federal imprisonment, the ongoing clinical diagnosis, which is subsequently, which is the placement in a mental asylum and venues as such when you are engaging in this criminal pattern of conduct, a prosecution of a population of domestic terrorists, which is the United States' unprecedented violation of American citizens, while these demons in the U.S. want to appear as though they're different from ongoing satanic means of targeting American citizens, and they're violating American citizens, not American citizens across the seas, but violating human rights of people in other parts of the world. The United States is distinct in that these demons do it as a population, and they do it while they want to appear as though they're distinct from the barbarism that's occurring across the seas. And they're not. They're more despicable because of the level of hypocrisy that's inherent to gang stalking. Okay, it's currently 9:16 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, this is documentation speaking to the conflicted interest of thieves and domestic terrorists. Jason Isaac Phillips, who are monitoring me with demons that are gay in Ontario. That includes the police department, whom Jason Isaac Phillips and Tracy Banks are relying on to commit kidnapping, to defame, so that they can rely on it and try to support the thefts that Jason Isaac Phillips has already engaged in, he's already committed, and the ongoing current status that he maintains in unlawful possession. And I want to be clear, this demon literally has no business having any access to any property that belongs to me. He's not a family member. He's not a friend. He is nobody that should even know about property. The only way that, and the only reason why he knows is because he's been inside of Tracy Banks' vagina. Okay? That's the only reason why. 7FBP321, however, is gang stalking me on Jason Isaac Phillips' behalf, because this corrupt government actor is engaging in what is gang stalking to get away with theft. That's why the Ontario International Airport, including Delta Airlines, that's flying over at the same published time, going toward their destination by hovering over while the fake sun is
underway, and I'm uploading evidence that refers to this thief. This is somebody that's engaging in what is theft via gang stalking, the conspiracy to murder. Jason Isaac Fields relying on keeping property that belongs to me so that he avoids federal prison and ongoing domestic terrorism. Impossible Light is moving across that venue while a demon, 8GLU 179, is crossing path in the environment where Jason Isaac Fields is relying on the criminal conduct, the psychological torture, the ongoing terrorism by the people of the state. This demon, Jason Isaac Fields, is doing so in concert with his sex partner, Tracy Banks. The only way in which he has any association with property, I just want to be clear, this is somebody that has no basis whatsoever to even have knowledge of this is already something that is, the fact that he has any knowledge about it, any involvement, is the inevitable demise regarding federal prison. Not only that, this is a corrupt government actor that is keeping me exposed. This is a conflict by the federal government. I'm going to prosecute for this. The federal government is not investigating. The federal government is the same sex offender, terrorist Jason Isaac Fields, who is targeting with the demons that are trying to stop the upload of a podcast where I'm expounding upon the criminal activity of government actors such as Jason Isaac Fields, the federal government, trying to engage in what is theft of inheritance, theft of money and property and intellectual property, trying to get away with it by murder through gang stalking. This is why you have demons stalking with Impossible Light, 7XQG724. They are gang stalking with the demons of the Ontario Police, stalking with Impossible Light, while using helicopters, scary things like following around in planes. This is psychological torture that this Satan-serving demon, this domestic terrorist, this corrupt government actor, Jason Isaac Fields, is relying on while he is remaining in unlawful custody of property, control over property. He is not helping. He's not investigating. He is engaged in what is gang stalking. And the damages that are documented in the criminal pattern of conduct that he is remaining engaged in. He is literally, you also need to know that this is a demon and he uses voodoo. He's spiritually attacking while gang stalking as an entity. And then this psychopath is trying to double as a legitimate government actor, conducting an investigation and providing information to the feds that are engaging in what is providing justice. He's going to federal prison. All right. And this is the entity that is engaging in what is sexual activity with Tracy Banks. You will find a lot of the connections to criminal conduct centered around me is based on sex partners of Tracy Banks. And it includes Jason Isaac Fields, who has no basis whatsoever for having even knowledge of my property, let alone living in any real property that belongs to me, having any access to businesses that I've inherited, that this demon counted on me dying and being able to keep it because he found out that he was caught. And so gang stalking and prolonging this system, that's already proven. There's no investigation. They're hoping that, again, the target individual drops dead. They're hoping, again, that there's just going to be some crash out that's on the internet, and then that's going to support all of the defamation that Jason Isaac Fields has committed, while he conspired at the outset to murder in order to gain riches, material wealth, while demons like 8SBK063 are in the field gang stalking me day in and day out, monitoring my vagina, license 9G MB639, the entity that is gang stalking, a infestation of demons, gang stalking with the government, where this fake son is still present at this same location after 6 p.m. Like I documented yesterday afternoon, this is where Jason Isaac Fields is counting on death in order to maintain what is presence outside of a federal facility. He's going to federal prison, and this is documentation regarding obstruction of justice, not any investigation. I've conducted the investigation, and I am exposing the corrupt government, and he's going to federal prison for everything that is precipitating from his original offense of being a gang stalking corrupt official and stealing my property. And he did so counting on my demise. That is me being dead. He's a murderer. He's also engaged in pedophilia with these gang stalkers. It is currently, by the way, 10:06 a.m. and the images that you'll see while I'm uploading this podcast, this is what Sun Sparklets is engaging in. They're monitoring with planes and helicopters, and no flight toward what is the destination of Delta Airlines includes hovering over this venue, but the entity that's monitoring evidence engages in what is ongoing admissions to monitoring evidence, because it will never include flight over this venue. But that lets you know that Alan D. WAPNER knows that he's being documented, and they're doing so trying to stop publishing of documentation because Jason Isaac Fields is engaged in federal stalking. Okay? Jason Isaac Fields is hostile to everything that's being documented and published on the video of the internet. He remains an ongoing threat to my life and safety. And the entity is trying to stop evidence that they are all interested in being obstructed from being published. He's going to federal prison.
Okay, he's going to federal prison for the gang stalking by the entirety of the city of Ontario, for the gang stalking that his sex partner Tracy Banks is engaging in inside of her apartment in concert with the city of Ontario. He's going to federal prison for gang stalking with the city of Monrovia, where I'm documenting that P.O.C. by the entirety of that city in Monrovia, California at Courtyard by Marriott, a third party. Where the entity is maintaining gang stalking while I'm in Los Angeles, and the entity is stalking me by helicopters, LA County Fire, and Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department stalking me by helicopter at Alvarado Gardens under the fake sun rising and setting, and Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison for it. He's been engaged in targeting me because he has stolen property from me that he has yet to return, and the government is giving time in order to find evidence to support and deny him, not deny him, but deny me what is justice, overly delayed justice, but also because this terrorist, this sex offender doesn't want to go to federal prison. He's going to federal prison. As surely I still remain a transient. I still remain dispossessed of my property that he never should have had access to in the first place. And the judges and the demons engaging in perjury, the demons that are gang stalking, the gang stalking police departments, they're all sharing in that criminal act committed together. They're pacing with engineer light. They're all monitoring while Jason Isaac Fields is engaged in an ongoing campaign to accomplish what is obstruction of justice. A corrupt government actor that wants to stay out of federal prison, and it is not going to happen. It is impossible. He is going to federal prison, and he is continuously threatening my life and safety while I am publishing evidence, and his co-defendants, the entity that's gang stalking me all day long, keeping me under surveillance, using all manner of the government to do so, which is speaking to the unlawful threat that Jason Isaac Fields, a corrupt federal official, poses. He's going to federal prison. And this is this demon's effort to try to avoid that. He already stole my money. He already stole my property, any businesses. He already stole all of that, which he has even no business, has no basis of even knowledge, let alone involvement in the criminal conduct of Tracy Banks and Eric Spencer, for example. He's going to federal prison. He is going straight to federal prison. And this is documentation speaking to what is inevitable federal prison. While Delta Airlines is engaging in criminal monitoring, stalking while I'm at the Ontario Town Square, demons pacing around with impossible light activity, keeping a fake sun over me all day long, which is the psychological torture of the demons that are engaging in that ongoing conspiracy to sacrifice. Jason Isaac Fields is a demon, a part of the same sex cult, engaging in the sacrifice of an American citizen, one whom he engaged in a fake friendship with because he was conspiring my death. He used his position to steal from me and is now gang stalking, not investigating anything, and is seeking to avoid federal prison. This is exposing rampant corruption, and this demon is going to federal prison. All right, it is currently again 10 a.m. This is 280 North Lemon Apartments. Ontario police are gang stalking on this street, like I documented earlier, where the fake sun is still here at this venue. This is P.O.C. All right, I just want to be clear, documentation of the entity. So I just want to let you know I'm not dealing with not only criminals that are engaging in no longer a secret system. I'm dealing with, and I'm exposing to you, the demon possessed. So the true attitude of terrorists like Jason Isaac Fields, he practices witchcraft on a daily basis. He worships Satan. He's using voodoo. His witchcraft does not work against me, but I want to be clear. These demons, license 9NJJ963, are practicing witchcraft with this demon. They're stalking with impossible light. This demon is engaging in what is ongoing psychological torture, and he's mocking the documentation that I published on the internet, license 8MPG310, and this is shared by the demons that are acting with the level of impunity that the Ontario Police Department exhibit. So I want to let you know, I've already proven that this is a demonic system, that these are demons. This is criminal conduct proven with tangible evidence. The context is that this is demonic activity. And I want to give not only the evidence to put Jason Isaac Fields in federal prison, but I want to make sure that you clearly understand how much of a psychopath, how much of a bloodthirsty murderer and a violent sex offender with no remorse whatsoever. This demon is more concerned with his well-being and staying outside of the cells of a facility where he can no longer threaten to terrorize and murder other people than he is with regard to doing justice and perhaps stopping what he's engaging in. 6CSX072. These are demons that are gang stalking with Jason Isaac Fields. 74024G1. They're stalking and molesting with impossible light. They're monitoring. They're monitoring the evidence, everything that I'm documenting on the venue of the internet. This is, again, being filtered by the entity that is gang stalking with the Jason Isaac Fields, who is inherently conflicted. You are not handling any investigation when you are the criminal engaging in the criminal offense. While you are literally sitting in possession of property that never belonged to you in the first place, while you are directly interested in the outcome of the purported investigation, while you are the ongoing source of the ongoing terrorism that I remain subject to. That is, while I document Jason Isaac Fields, the Ontario Police Department engage in terror terrorizing me by helicopter. The people of the state engage in terrorizing me with impossible light activity. Their co-defendant is what is Jason Isaac Fields, this person that is engaging what is mocking the evidence that is exposing him. And the reason why I know that is because this is a demon that is spiritually attacking. And this is relevant to what I'm going to document. This is somebody that is in need of actual mental examinations. Every defamatory word that he uttered in court behind my back while he was engaging in what everyone knows now is a conspiracy to murder me and get away with stealing my property, lying on my character, and still gang stalking in an effort which is entirely futile and never going to result. It would only result through ongoing corruption, and that's not how this is going to end. He's going to federal prison. The ongoing gang stalking is not an investigation. It is ongoing criminal activity by the same federal government that is cooperating with the criminal efforts and the criminal acts already committed by Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks, getting away with theft and then trying to cover it up by gang stalking. Gang stalking results in what is death of that targeted individual, and that's why this is being prolonged. He's going to federal prison, and this is a hostile demon engaging what is obsessive psychological torture. He's a demon relying on witchcraft. He laughs at the evidence that is published on the video of the internet. This is a demon. Okay, so I'm not going to mince words. This is a demon. That's why he's engaging in the demonic pattern of conduct. That's why that level of malice is exhibited by him on paper. When you're looking at the things that he's committed, you're looking at the behavior of a demon-possessed person, a psychopath. But that's a spirit, all right? This is a demon-possessed person, and he's engaged in ongoing psychological warfare. While the fake sun is over me and engineer light and the demons are pacing all around me, this demon is engaged in ongoing spiritual attacks. This is relevant to what he also knows is being documented. And you also know in the physical, aside from what I'm letting the world know about this demon, Jason Isaac Fields, he is a defendant and he's engaged in surveillance. This is also how you know physically the evidence of what I'm letting you know that he is doing spiritually. He knows that he's being documented because they're engaged in surveillance on my communication devices, on the internet, and while I'm under surveillance in the specific environment. Where Delta Airlines flies over me and the podcast upload that's at 60% immediately drops down to 13%. That is aiding this defendant, Jason Isaac Fields, who is engaged in federal stalking with the intent to obstruct justice. He is also, what you need to know, a demon-possessed person, which is somebody that is harboring a spirit of mental illness, which is manifest in his behavior. His criminal conduct is giving you evidence of severe mental instability, and this is someone that is engaging in criminal conduct in furtherance of murder because he wants to get away with theft that he's already committed. Theft at the federal government. His co-conspirators, and those co-conspirators are those that are claiming to be engaging in an investigation. They're not investigating anything. This is surveillance. There is ongoing inherent targeting that pre-existed before Tracy Banks had sex with Jason Isaac Fields. Jason Isaac Fields has been lying and gang stalking me for years. He did not get a position in government and then found out after the fact that I was being targeted, and his job was, unbeknownst to him, used as a means of targeting me. That's an implausible and unintelligent alibi, and it's no alibi whatsoever. Gang stalking I've been subject to for years, including while he was gang stalking me, including while living in Vegas on the phone, federal stalking underway, while he was monitoring me. Okay, the entity is engaging in this now while he is his life is at stake, and he's sacrificed his freedom. He's going to federal prison, and he is engaging what is monitoring me with the intent to obstruct justice while these demons are engaging in gang stalking. 8NTK353. Remember, they're monitoring my vagina when I walk outside of the same entrance, and the fake sun is still here. 7 hours from now. 5EQL818 and license plate. Another psychopath, license 07627B4, serving the criminal purposes of the corrupt federal government, keeping me under surveillance while I expose it, while I'm subject to the lower demons of the city of Ontario, the lower demons that fill the state of California, using Delta airline planes to fly over my head, where you are not taking off in a Delta Air or any airline plane, and including that which is going to be hovering over the Ontario town square. But it is something that's creating what are the elements of monitoring and affecting the real-time upload of the podcast that includes the federal agent, Jason Isaac Fields, who is directly interested in the outcome. I want to be clear, I'm still uploading the evidence on the internet. This is a psychopath that is engaging in what is a delusional effort, but this is the work of Satan, and you need to understand that Jason Isaac Fields is not only subject to federal prison, he belongs in an asylum, just like his sex partner, Tracy Banks. I documented her thoroughly inside of her apartment, and you witnessed extensively mental illness unaddressed, unchecked, undiagnosed. 7XLE198. What do you think that Tracy Banks is having sex with? Jason Isaac Fields is the same condition. It's the same spirit. It's a Jezebel spirit in a male, and that's evidence of his whose sexual history needs to be a part of their court hearing is Jason Isaac Fields. This demon engaged in what is defaming me, violating my privacy because he wanted to steal from me, and nothing within my private life is aiding the criminal defamatory purposes. And so Jason Isaac Fields then began making it up. All right, and while I'm documenting that, I'm letting you know that my circumstances, the ongoing damages that I suffer, which I'm documenting pursuant to ongoing gang stalking, is criminal conduct that Jason Isaac Fields is engaging in real time. While I am documenting evidence and uploading it, Jason Isaac Fields is interested in the demons that are obstructing uploading on the venue of the internet where federal stalking is underway. And Jason Isaac Fields, the federal government, is engaged in federal stalking. These demons that are stalking with impossible light, these demons that are stalking in the bathroom, these demons that are stalking day and night in police vehicles, in fire trucks, in planes, and in helicopters are doing so at the bidding of Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields. These are demons alike. And Jason Isaac Fields is acting in furtherance of murder because this coward does not want to go to federal prison, but it's not what you want. It's what justice requires. And it's based on the criminal activity that is proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And by the way, even at the outset, his involvement in this case, engaging what is theft of me, it's one thing to be gang stalking, but it's another for him to actually have put hands on my property, having involvement, personal involvement in theft of money that he shouldn't have even ever known about. The fact that he knows about it, the fact that he's engaged in that criminal conduct is showing that he is targeting. That's evidence because but for targeting me, you have no idea about who I am and what property I have. That's how you know, first of all, that they're demons and that it's a government system. He's going to federal prison for abuse of his position, gang stalking me. He's going to federal prison for being a fake friend and gang stalking me. That's an intolerable level of facilitation. He's going to federal prison for this ongoing criminal conduct that I remain subject to because cowards and hypocrites like this corrupt government actor Jason Isaac Fields are still gang stalking because they don't want to go to federal prison. Because an American citizen is subject to this, because of the defiance of a corrupt government, him and his partners, they're all going to federal prison. It is currently 10:23 a.m. These are demons, license 9UOY 903, 9MDF 697. Where are they pacing? They're not walking and driving. They are pacing. Where suppose you drive is stalking in the path. A demon stalking with flashing of light while demons are pacing. The pacing is shown through the maintenance of the fake sun. Then you're understanding the purpose of that presence in that environment. These are not people that are walking, and these are not private citizens engaging in protected activity. These are demons that are pacing, meaning they're maintaining presence under a fake sun while they're engaging in surveillance. These demons are pacing inside of the library where Jason Isaac Fields is engaged in ongoing surveillance. Jason Isaac Fields is a sex offender keeping my vagina under surveillance. While he should not be concerned with my vagina because he's having sex with my mother's vagina. But this is how sexually demented and perverted he is. This is a criminal that lusts after my death and also sexually is obsessed with me while he's engaged in a prolonged sexual relationship with my mother, somebody as old as his grandma. This is how perverted he is. That's that same Jezebel spirit. This is the mentally ill, corrupt government actor Jason Isaac Fields. Again, he's going to federal prison for what I'm documenting. He's engaged in federal stalking with the intent to obstruct justice, while 8AXC133 is gang stalking me on his behalf, on behalf of the corrupt government. It is currently 10:24 a.m. and that's what's relevant when I'm showing you what's going on my phone, and I'm showing you the entity gang stalking by plane and helicopter and by the people of the state. Demons driving all around and light like you see occurring while they're merely driving by. This is what's happening when I'm inside a Starbucks. And for these demons to openly engage in that, and then they sit at an intersection like they have nothing to do with the police that are flying in circles over my head on this same street at after 6 p.m. This is how you know that it's an ongoing government program and a government project of gang stalking, and they were supposed to accomplish the sacrifice, which is the purpose of Jason Isaac Fields, a demon, a Satanist, a witch, that's wanting to avoid prison for what now he never anticipated would be exposed. Not only is it exposed, he's going to prison for it, and there is no way that you're avoiding federal prison. Based on this level of impunity, he's going to federal prison, and he is not getting out, okay? His being in federal prison is a part of my being released from this government that is obsessively stalking me, and he's going to sit in a federal cell, and he's not going to be given any information nor under the law ever permitted in my presence, all right? And he's going to unhand property that belongs to me, and he's going to do it while the government hands it to me. He's going to federal prison. This is what justice requires, especially a psychopath that tried to conspire through his government position, my murder, and having sex with my family and fake friends while he thought that he was going to celebrate with my money. All right, and pay for trips and vacations and all manner of property like he's some successful person. He's a lowlife. He's a common criminal from the hood. Okay, he's a thug. He literally gets off by having sex with people and using voodoo. He's a rapist. When you're relying on witchcraft to have sex with people that otherwise would not, you're a rapist. Okay, this is what he is, and he's gang stalking, and his witchcraft and voodoo doesn't work on me, and that's why I'm exposing not only the criminal but the demon, the witch that he is, the coward that he is. Okay, he's going to be taking that position that he likes to take anyway, while homosexuals are remaining in federal prison, and he's going to be sitting there residing with them. Okay, the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library is gang stalking. These demons are pacing in and out of the entrance, where the same impossible light that you see all over the walls and floors is occurring inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, where ongoing terrorism is underway. Psychopath stalking with noise, psychopath stalking with light, under the fake sun. This is P.O.C. And it's 10:29 a.m. This is where the entity engaged in kidnapping with that Ontario Police Department. They are going to federal prison, and they're doing so on behalf of Jason Isaac Fields, who is relying on their criminal conduct in order for him to avoid federal prison. He's going to federal prison, and so are they, for the kidnapping that I documented at this venue. Okay, it's currently 10:27 a.m. This is P.O.C. at 215 East C Street, the OVITT Family Community Library.
It is 2:07 p.m. Demons of all races and all backgrounds, all statuses, including those under the age of majority where the people of the state are maintaining activity. So it's very easy to have your children running around, crying even, making your children cry to monitor somebody else. That's a sick tactic I've observed many times. The demons engaging in this, doing so in the specific environment where the fake sun is idle. So this is documentation of the idle presence of the sun, the pattern of conduct, coexisting with what is documentation of what is necessarily more than one sun while it is on the same day at the same time remaining over me in San Diego and San Diego County. Understanding the psychopaths that are engaging in a system of what is demonic and highly corrupt and also sexually perverted, while the entities engaging in that pattern of conduct sitting around monitoring my evidence and concerned with everything that I am doing, while they're also, again, sitting in engineered light all over the ceiling, engineered light that they're walking in. They have perpendicular shadows. I've shown you the shadow activity, the light activity inside, where it's systematic monitoring inside of the library. Demons, psychopaths, stalking, walking under the covered structure, where I've documented the fake sun remaining over me at the side of this library all day. So the documentation that I show you remaining over Economy N from sunrise till sunset, the entity has kept the fake sun on the side of this library where demons are stalking inside of this library, and I'm looking at it from morning until evening. Kept it right here on the side where the entity is stalking with commercial planes over the 280 North Limit Apartments. This is where I'm located, and there's a large window space where the entity is monitoring with the City of Ontario, maintaining heavy plane activity that is also amplified in volume. And the delusional psychopaths that sit around stalking with noise are doing so while the entity is providing that noise, the plane activity. And this is while in San Diego, California, San Diego County is engaging in gang stalking using criminal summoning, monitoring on the roads and the highways. The fake sun over me at the San Diego Police Department in its zenith, which I'm documenting on video, substantial video at 1 p.m. And yet you're looking at the demons that are a bunch of psychopaths. These are demons, okay? Stalking in planes, stalking in helicopters, stalking in a library. Very mentally demented behavior while they are failing in what is any persuasive appearance of normalcy and what's an ongoing conspiracy to surround one person. And the gang members that are highly unintelligent, their tactic is, well, if everyone acts like it's not happening and everyone acts like it's only the imagination of that target individual, then that's supposed to be the medical practice to diagnose that person. And that's why the entity is going to be subject to federal prison and mental illness diagnosed based on that criminal and malicious pattern of conduct. Okay, there's no sun that would be over the San Diego Police Department at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I am capturing footage that is remaining from sunrise until sunset at the OVITT Family Community Library. And then you're taking note about what you're looking at, actually, which are not human beings. These are spirits that are demonic, and they're pacing all around in an environment that is conducive to that surveillance system. And it's very sick. Very, very sick. It is currently 2:10 p.m. So that's the context regarding the demons. Those are third parties that are inside of the OVITT Family Community Library in engineered light. You can see the image of the engineered light spanning across the wall of that elevator in the distance, where you're looking at what is the evidence of everybody's purpose is to maintain presence on behalf of the government, ongoing stalking by a city, ongoing stalking by an establishment, ongoing stalking by a government inside of any location. And this is a library where the fake sun is going to be in the same position that it was this morning at the Ontario Town Square,
which is at the same location where the Ontario Fire Department is, where the Ontario City Hall is, where the entity is pacing in flight using commercial planes as the method of amplified noise. And this is the documentation of what the San Diego Police Department is engaging in, knowing exactly who I am and not being strangers, keeping the fake sun over me, where the entity is indeed gang stalking. This is Southwest Airlines. This is the plane activity that's amplified inside of the library, maintaining serial flight while I'm inside of the venue. Southwest Airlines is hovering over the 280 North Lemon Apartments, tracking my steps, knowing exactly where I'm at. And that knowledge is based on the impossibility that the sun would be anywhere in San Diego today when I'm showing it over me in San Diego, for example, at Fairfield, in San Diego, California, and then I go to the San Diego Police Department. But the Ontario Police Department are gang stalking by definition of the fake sun being over me at the same address where it was this morning, where the demons whose license plate I read, speaking to the sexual violence, speaking to the conspiracy to murder me while they're gang stalking me at what is 215 E.C. Street, 224 North Euclid Avenue, where Delta Airlines is monitoring me, aiding this sex offender, this terrorist. Suppose you drive, who's gang stalking under the fake sun this morning at this address in Ontario, and Jason Isaac Fields, who's gang stalking me through the entity that's keeping me surrounded on his behalf, in concert with his sex partner, Tracy Banks, these demons that are gang stalking as a way of theft. With the entity that's engaging that pattern of conduct. 53609W3 is not ignorantly present over a phenomenon that is not going to be in any natural environment occurring in San Diego, California, outside of my window of my hotel room in San Diego, California, over the top of my head at that parking garage at Fairfield by Marriott in San Diego, California. 7TQT803 is again a demon that is stalking. You see these demons stalking in helicopter. That's speaking to the San Diego Police Department, San Diego County, sharing in the criminal pattern of conduct that Jason Isaac Fields, a corrupt federal official, conspiring my murder and gang stalking in furtherance of obstructing justice because this coward does not want to go to federal prison. And that's why to date I remain subject to this criminal system. This is also a demon in the way that these are all demons under a fake sun. And you are aware of that because the fake sun is on this day in 2024 at the same time, remaining over me in San Diego, California, where there is no sun that would be at the same address like I'm documenting on a daily basis and including what I'm doing in 2024. And the entities engaging what is stalking by definition. The demons that were stalking at the turn circle this morning are the same entity. These are demons that are stalking me specifically. That's why the fake sun is right over me at the same address. When they're driving away, they're not remaining under a fake sun, and there is no sun in a natural environment in San Diego. San Diego was stalking and monitoring me like they are in Ontario. 9PDM 627, and that's the prosecution. That's the federal imprisonment of the gang stalkers of the Ontario Police who are going to be disbanded, and they're going to be disbanded for conspiring my murder with Jason Isaac Fields, so that this demon can avoid federal prison for stealing from me. Where he would engage in what is theft of a woman, causing what is the oppression of a woman that he wants to steal from. He literally wants to be me, and that's the same with his sex partner, Tracy Banks. This is mental illness shared by both of them because they are demon-possessed, and this demonic system of criminal monitoring is pursuant to that. This is the Ontario City Hall that's gang stalking, which is what San Diego is providing evidence against Paul Leon, who's being removed from office. This is the Ontario Fire Department, which is in the same plaza, 303 East B Street, which is providing evidence by San Diego, who is gang stalking as well. And this is how the entity is going to serve to show what the entire state of California is doing. And it's not amongst a bunch of strangers. You have what is Southwest Airlines that is gang stalking, tracking my steps, maintaining flight right here while the fake sun has not gone anywhere. Okay? And it's certainly not outside of the windows of Starbucks on this same street. But you know that Starbucks is gang stalking because at no point would the sun ever be at the same time of year in San Diego where they're engaging in what is committing a kidnapping because the entity that's acting with Jason Isaac Fields, the federal government, is engaging in obstruction of justice. And that's why Ocean is going to federal prison, and so is Jason Isaac Fields. So are the demons of the Ontario Police Department. All right? This is P.O.C. This is an entity, 8YPD481, and it's also a demon. Monitoring my vagina, which is what Southwest Airlines is doing. That's a demon with their hazard lights on under a fake sun that's also in San Diego over me as I document that. Okay? That's the significance of what Suppose You Drive is doing, surrounding in the perimeter with light activity. This is the monitoring behavior, and it's the outward demonstration of mental illness. This is the corrupt system. The police are relying on this. The police are requiring the presence of the people of the state, who are the cockroaches pacing all around in the engineered environment, and it's the same with the entity that is gang stalking with the with the corrupt establishments that are gang stalking, such as what the OVITT Family Community Library is doing inside. License 9MGP375 is engaging in federal stalking, and this is a comprehensive system of surveillance that remains in the fake sun. It's in the same position that it is at 10:13 in the morning, and that is engaging in that. This is government conduct. This is the San Diego Police Department and the Ontario Police Department that are gang stalking. You're looking at the fake sun that's in this position at 10 o'clock in the morning. You're also witnessing mental illness while they gang stalk. These are demons, and they maintain that perplexed appearance. You're going to look at the specific environment and prosecute accordingly. 9MPG375, there's no coincidence of the pattern of conduct. That's mentally ill psychopathic behavior while they're threatening your life and conspiring with the federal government while they're supposedly under the guise of anonymity. All right, that act does not work, and not only that, that act is going to serve as a diagnosis for mental illness. The actually mentally ill are stalking under a fake sun. The actually mentally ill are stalking with methods of light activity. The actual mentally ill population are stalking with amplified noise. The actual mentally ill population are stalking as a whole entity, all right, and monitoring things like genitalia, doing things like stalking with impossible light. That's the mentally ill population. This is P.O.C. It's currently 2:17 p.m. and this is 215 East Street, where the fake sun is, as you know, that you've seen reflecting off of this window, meaning it's still here after 6 p.m., which is also on video. And it's not going to be in San Diego, California. Paul Leon, gang stalking right here at the Ontario City Hall, is being removed from office. This is P.O.C. All right, it is currently 2:17 p.m. All right, capturing video of the San Diego County gang stalking while the entity kept that fake sun over me. While I am in, while I'm in the city of San Diego today, and the entity kept that fake sun while I'm at the San Diego Police Department at 1 p.m. They're engaging in criminal summoning on the roads and the highways, keeping the fake sun over me while they're engaging with the ignoramuses of the Ontario Police Department. The demons are of the same condition and they utilize the same tactics. That's understanding a pattern of conduct, and they're engaging in what is the traffic stop. What's the traffic stop? It's light activity, relevant positioning, and ongoing audible activity. While I'm documenting, everything is making noise, but literally while they're monitoring me and I'm in my car and using my cell phone, that's the elements of monitoring that's underway while San Diego police are exhibiting demon possession, and they're engaging in the public corruption of what is monitoring an American citizen, stalking as a whole police department while I'm in the city of San Diego. And yet the entity is engaging what I'm capturing every day, keeping the fake sun over 215 East C Street, where I'm documenting the fake sunrise before 7 a.m. at 215 East C Street, and the ongoing maintenance of that fake sun after 6:22 p.m. And that's why it's over my head at 2:18 p.m. That's the evidence of what's going on this day in 2024. And it is a sex offense while they're monitoring my vagina inside of this building, stalking as a bunch of demons, maintaining audible noise, just like I documented on an ongoing basis, ongoing harassment and terrorism by a bunch of psychopaths who are demon-possessed, stalking with all manner of artificial engineered light. Okay, these are sex offenders that are engaging in surveillance in a bathroom, which is an unfathomable level of sexual violence. This is P.O.C., and it is, again, currently, looks like 2:19 p.m. All right, San Diego and Ontario police are engaging in the P.O.C., and the maintenance of that specific environment is the prosecution of the state, the disbanding of the Ontario police who like to keep my vagina under surveillance with the sex offenders remaining inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. This is P.O.C. (3:27 p.m.) The psychopaths that are all sitting, looking stupid under a fake sun that's sitting in San Diego on the same day, all day long, are stalking with amplified noise that's occurring above my head while I'm sitting on the second floor, where they're all monitoring in the bathroom as well. And there's psychopaths that are engaging in stalking amongst amplified booming noise, which is impossible to hear from upstairs. The Page 1 Cafe is directly above. The demons are monitoring psychopaths that are engaged in passive-aggressive conduct. Amplified noise occurs while they keep their eyes in a different direction. Impossible light activity, molesting occurs while they keep their eyes in a different direction, while they're all focused and monitoring you together as a group of sex offenders. This is what the OVITT Family Community Library, the demons that work here and the demons that are sitting around stalking inside of a library, and none of them engage in reading literature for fun or actually for real. It is currently 3:27 p.m. That's ongoing harassment by the demons that are sharing the fake sun on this day at the same time in San Diego, California, specifically at the San Diego Police Department, at the San Diego Fairfield Inn and Suites, which is located at 4345 Mission Bay Drive in San Diego, California, which is prosecuting the entity that is gang stalking, including Paul Leon, Alan D. WAPNER, Mike LORENZ, Michael GERKEN, the demons that are gang stalking Tracy Bang, banks, the demons that are gang stalking at Economy Inn, at Starbucks, where the entity's keeping a fake son on Euclid Avenue in Ontario, in other words. And this day in 2024, it's in San Diego, over my hotel room, over the top of my head at the same time. This is where demons are stalking with noise and light, and the mentally ill engage in that. And they have a pattern of having sex with children and monitoring genitalia. It's P.O.C, ongoing harassment and terrorism.
All right. Suppose You Drive Truck Rental and Leasing is a third-party company exercising what is a malicious guise, which is not constitutionally protected. They're engaging in criminal activity, and this is relevant to a federal RICO case against the entity. Suppose You Drive Truck Rental and Leasing is a third party engaging in what is criminal facilitation, creating light activity pursuant to monitoring, doing so with regard to the sex offense inherent to monitoring, doing so while monitoring evidence. This is the criminal acts of obstruction of justice pursuant to monitoring with the government, and doing so with regard to psychological torture, which is inherent to the criminal pattern of conduct, which is psychopathic. Suppose You Drive. Its corporate headquarters is located at 3809 San Fernando Road in Glendale, California, 91204. P.O.C. All right, it's 4:12 p.m. The entity engaging in what is monitoring, so that trying to stop the podcast conversion as I'm processing, in other words, my podcast, and the app just failing. That's monitoring. Okay, they're all sitting around being demons, sitting looking stupid under a fake sun. They're all being prosecuted, and they're trying to stop what they're not going to stop. And this is documentation of the ongoing intent to obstruct justice, while a whole bunch of demons who failed in a sacrifice, acting toward what is murder, trying to conspire, trying to stop the person that they want to murder from documenting and putting on the internet. That federal offense is why people are going to federal prison, namely Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields, gang stalking police officers who are relying on the demons sitting around in a library looking stupid under a fake sun, while San Diego County is exposing what they are and what they're doing. POC, it's 4:13 p.m. This federal stalking on my device at the Family Community Library. POC. All right, this is documentation of monitoring, which again, monitoring is harassment. This is harassment by the employee, Mickey. This appears to be an Asian, perhaps a Filipino. I'm not sure what her specific nationality is, but this appears to be an Asian woman. She's an employee at the venue. She's engaged in monitoring. The moment that I get off of the recognition of that conduct, you're already surrounded by the POC. Everybody's monitoring. Mickey in particular is engaged in what is monitoring as I'm walking out, and the demons are engaging in the pattern of being in the path with a method of light. Mickey's engaging in that gang stalking with the demons, her co-defendants that are stalking outside, aiming light. This is sexual violence. This is terrorism. Mickey is monitoring my vagina. All right, while she's tracking my steps. License 7D AK444 is monitoring my vagina with Mickey. So is license, this is a male, license 8Z XV681 with a passenger in the front seat. Operational communication devices, you'll see the demon with the long ponytail, red shorts, green shirt, gray backpack on. He's monitoring with Mickey, who is walking out of the side entrance door at the circulation desk. She does so the moment that I walk off the elevator. She is stalking in the path in engineer light, which fills that venue, and doing so pursuant to what are all the rest of the demons that are outside waiting for me to walk outside. Not only is this activity creation, not only is this demonic, it's also harassment, but this is Mickey that is monitoring me, engaging in terrorism with the demons that are stalking in planes as well. Mickey's engaged in kidnapping and criminal summoning on multiple occasions. Mickey is subject to federal prison. She's monitoring me with the Ontario International Airport. She's doing so in furtherance of murder. She's monitoring, and she's engaged in monitoring all of the evidence against her. So that is, Mickey is monitoring me. She's a violent sex offender. She's been engaged in years of terrorism and gang stalking, like the Ontario International Airport provides evidence against her in doing so. And she's engaging in that while she is aware of the fact that she's been documented terrorizing an American citizen who is aware of it and does not wish for it to occur. And Mickey is no less incentivized in doing so. Mickey is a violent sex offender, and she is an enemy of the American citizens while she's engaging in gang stalking, okay? She's a violent criminal. She's a psychopath. She is a demon, but I just want to be clear with regard to what the demon-possessed know, what the gang stalkers know, what the domestic terrorist knows, and what they are doing. Both of that mens rea, and also that actus rea, what they're doing and what they know, and how long Mickey has been doing it, okay? Mickey's a psychopath. She smiles very genuinely, okay? Seemingly genuinely. She smiles very warmly at the front desk of the Ontario
OVITT Family Community Library. She opens up the front entrance. She's been gang stalking me for years and doing so in a very friendly manner. That's psychopathic, okay? She's been monitoring my vagina, that is, for years and keeping a smile on her face, all right, while she's engaged in what is knowledge about when I'm on my cycle and what's going on in the bathroom. She's a violent psychopath and she's a sex offender, terrorizing me with the government that's using planes and helicopters where she works. 034, I can't really see that. That's a Vegas plate though. All these demons are pacing. They're all sitting in the parking garage monitoring with the Ontario International Airport while you know that they're in engineered light. License plate 8VHU079, 7RCK848, and they were all monitoring me, tracking my steps while Mickey's providing an ongoing signal. She walks out of the door adjacent to the circulation desk the moment that I get off the elevator, letting everybody else know that here I come, okay? You're also dealing with demons, so they're all stalking and monitoring in the spirit. All right, but this is the reality with regard to the activity creation that they engage in while they share also in monitoring my vagina. So I just want to make it clear. I've already established, and the evidence shows that the government in Ontario is a sex offender. They all sit around engaging in what is masturbating, sex rituals, lusting over my vagina that they're keeping under surveillance as a government, and also as a population. And I want to be clear that Mickey in particular is a sex offender engaging in homosexual conduct, homosexual violence, monitoring myself, my vagina, while she is a woman engaging in that sexual violence and sharing in that obsession and that psychopathy. 9EZK933 is engaging in that as well. This is what the entity is doing together as one. So in the way that they're tracking my steps, let's backtrack and remember that they're also tracking everything that's going on in the bathroom between my legs. And that's what you need to know about the predator. Mickey is the name that she goes by. She's got shoulder-length black hair. I've documented her on plenty of occasions. And this is the entity that's engaging in what is sexual violence. And the entity is doing so while I published a wealth of documentation today pertaining to OVITT Family Community Library, the city of Ontario, that is still gang stalking tonight, while they are aware of the evidence that's published against them, which they're already, let me be clear, the prosecution is done regarding the state, and the evidence includes the fact that the government continuously conspired in my murder, continuously targeted me with knowledge of the fact of the wealth of evidence against it. Molesting with impossible light is that same license plate, 9EZK933. This is a sex offender that is demon-possessed. Impossible light is moving all about along the walls in the parking garage wall while this demon is on the opposite side of my person, meaning it's not headlights that are surrounding me. She is a terrorist, and she is stalking with light while she is a demon in the path, monitoring, okay? This is what they're doing under the fake sun at 415 North Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun rose on this same street, and yet I walk out at 2 o'clock and it's on the same street in front of this same venue. These are demons that are stalking with light while I wake up and I get that video and you see that engineered light that's moving underneath that covered structure while the demons are engaging in the same thing that this blackface demon is doing. Demons don't have races, okay? But you're looking at the identical pattern of conduct, and what you need to know, what you cannot see, is the fact that they're psychopaths and they're violent sex offenders, and they obsess over genitalia that doesn't belong to them, genitalia that's under the age of majority, all right, and the genitalia of the targeted individual, okay? License 6ZNL130, and that's, again, a blackface demon. That's another homosexual that you don't know about. Homosexuality is not based on the people that are overtly living in some sort of lifestyle as the demon-possessed wants you to associate, as Satan himself wants you to associate it. Which you already know that there are people that are, quote-unquote, in the closet. I want to be clear, there's a whole spiritual truth behind that. It is not based on what the entity is exposing about itself. You have a whole system regarding a satanic targeting system with regard to organized crime and monitoring by demons. This is also applicable to sexual preference, to the lifestyle of those, and you know nothing about it and you never will. It's a spiritual condition. Okay, and these are demons that are engaged in homosexual conduct while they live their lives as though they're heterosexual males and females. License plate, and that's relevant to that blackface demon molesting me with impossible light while she's desperately seeking to touch me. A sex offender in the middle of the night. License 5BHT164, a sex offender monitoring my vagina with every other sex offender. This is a sex offender of the male race. 49837C3. And this is mental illness that is, again, stalking in the path is Securitas. Okay, doing so, while they are sharing in that ongoing pacing at nightfall. And these are all demons that get a seat, walking, as I'm walking, getting prepared, and Mickey is starting with regard to the my exit of the venue, okay? That's the pattern of conduct. The blackface demon is sitting up, getting a heaping earful of my description of her secret homosexual lifestyle while she is monitoring another woman's vagina, and that's what you need to associate with her, and she's going to be prosecuted as a sex offender that she is. License 8DSG505. It's currently
9:08 p.m. A bunch of demons are sitting around in the dark stalking one person. This is mental illness, and this is the behavior of those that are bloodthirsty murderers. They murder people that they are gang stalking, and this is how you have such an unintelligent system, such as imbeciles sitting under a fake sun, while I'm showing you evidence of what is over me in San Diego, while the San Diego Police Department are of the same condition. These are the ignoramuses that are going to be exposed as the sex offenders, the pedophiles, and the psychopaths that they are that commit murder because they think they're going to gain one way or another. 7BAA928, what they have gained is the identification nationwide and what is going to be worldwide as what is domestic terrorism in this country. License 9PUM264, 8DFU546. They're all gang stalking in the middle of the night. The Ontario International Airport is providing facilitation, stalking in the path with amplified noise while the entity flies over by plane. And this is, again, no arrivals or departures from the airport, flying miles away from the airport and hovering over this venue. This is targeting by Alan D. Wapner. Okay, that's P.O.C. And Alan D. Wapner is sharing in sexual violence, monitoring my vagina while the demons are tracking my steps and tracking what's going on with my genitalia. The people of the state gang stalking at the Ontario downtown luxury apartments. They're all sex offenders, gang stalking by residents, stalking in impossible light. Let me show you, demon possession. That's impossible light activity. Light manifesting from across the parking lot. The license plate that I just read, that's impossible light. You'll see it trailing on the street. You'll see that's not headlights, and if you're driving on the road with that light, that's going to blind drivers behind you. These are demons that are monitoring coming from Ontario downtown luxury apartments where a bunch of terrorists, a bunch of sex offenders are gang stalking by residents. License 90002F2. You got another couple gang stalking me together. All right, the entity's engaging in what is psychopathic conduct, engaging in what is worshiping my vagina as they're couples together. This is what Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks do. This is what demons do. They both, Tracy is an incestuous sex offender, a pedophile, and Jason Isaac Fields is a sex offender as well. And they are both engaged in what is obsession with my vagina while they summon demonic spirits. It's entirely demonic what the entity is doing, and the entity's obsession with sex. All right, it's demonic. And you have these demon-possessed couples that are sitting around together, stalking me in the dark, and they also obsess over my vagina together. CW82D99. These are the predators sitting around lurking, waiting for me to arrive so that they can touch me with impossible light, which is speaking to how desperate they are to touch me, to be around me while they're stalking. Okay, a whole institution was stalking today. University of Laverne College of Law. A whole city hall was stalking today. The Ontario City Hall. A whole fire department was stalking me today. The Ontario Fire Department. A whole police department was stalking me today. The Ontario Police Department. And that's why I'm in the city of Ontario, because you're understanding what the whole state is doing. That's why the fake sun is over me on this day, all day long in San Diego, California, where I went to the I went to the San Diego Police Department at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. What's sitting over OVITT Family Community Library over the top of my head? I already have it on video for years, by the way, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Not that you need the exact same time, but I have that level of precision of evidence because there is no question regarding the truth of what it is that I've exposed. 8VRX437. Before, at 1 p.m. and after 1 p.m. The fake sun doesn't go anywhere where a bunch of sex offenders are sitting in the dark waiting for me and my vagina to walk out so they can touch on me. License 7EOM290, a sex offender with minor children. And if she's an immigrant, deport this sex offender. One less demon in the country. License 7EOM290. She's been molesting me with every other sex offender whose license plate I just recited. Okay? They sharing that together. Sitting around in the dark, waiting to touch on somebody is the conduct of a sex offender. Sitting around waiting to touch on somebody with impossible light, that's the conduct of a psychopath. Somebody that needs counseling. Somebody that needs help. They need assistance. This is what the demons are doing while they're monitoring. Now, you have that condition amongst a police department, a fire department, a local government body, while they're demons that are gang stalking. License 6YBM532. This is P.O.C. I'm going to get these demons that are stalking in the path. Yeah, this demon that knows that he's being approached right now, running. Let me get you the sex offenders, because when you see their light, this is a sex offense. 7ZMZ825. While I have perpendicular shadows and aiming light, this is another homosexual. Gang stalking, that's P.O.C. 7ZMZ825, a psychopath lurking in the dark, stalking. Being a psychopath, gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport, gang stalking with the Ontario Police, and there's also no question about their co-defendants while they like to feign stupidity and ignorance. What? And then you look at the entity gang stalking me by helicopter. Okay, that's P.O.C. Sex offenders, license plate. 9NTB857, license plate. Sex offenders, all of them stalking. 7PPX219, all of them stalking. Ontario Police is being disbanded. License plate 8SBJ526. License plate YAREC with a heart. Gang stalking couples, both obsessed with my vagina. Okay? Playing like they're heterosexuals. They're not. License plate. A whole bunch of demons. All they're doing is pacing around me. I am the center of the show. AGYG772. But the show is what the feds are watching. And all these predators are going to be prosecuted. And since you want to be a sex offender, that's exactly how you're going to be treated and acknowledged under federal law. Since that's what you want to do, and that's actually what you are, nobody is suffering any illusions here. The only ones that are under an illusion are these demons, who are going to be handled like the maniacal psychopaths, like the violent sex offenders, like the rapists that they are, the pedophiles that they are. Okay, what's sitting around lurking in the dark, stalking with light in order to keep somebody under surveillance and monitor their vagina unbeknownst to them without their consent? The people of the state that engage in pedophilia. That's who does that. Okay, that's who does that. Who sits around in the dark waiting for somebody to come by so that you can shine them with light. Light that's not even happening through your headlights. Your headlights are not reaching a mile in front of you. Who does that? You need to know, first of all, they're demons. And who is lurking in the sky space? The demons that are being disbanded. The demons that are being removed from a position to fly as a pilot ever again. All right, the demons that are sitting around lurking in fire trucks and ambulances. Using the sirens and lights as a trigger to engage in stalking me because the city of Ontario doesn't have anything productive to do, since they don't have anything else better to do, since they've invested in what is criminal conduct that's going to cost them dearly, since they want to be on the record historically for all of the horrible, most embarrassing reasons. That's exactly what they have reaped. That's exactly what's going to happen. Because that's what they're doing. Justice is going to be based on what they are actually doing, and they are going to be served with what is reality when these psychopaths have been living off of illusions. Illusions. It's currently 9:15 p.m. That's the ongoing sex offense. That's the ongoing obsession by people. Now understand, my vagina is the attention of millions of people every day. Every day. And they're psychopaths that go about acting like they're not doing it. But you know better, because one person does not gain over 170 videos of a police department that is, by virtue of that quantity, stalking. And that's before we even get into the substance of the specific environment and of the following from place to place. I don't have to break all that down. That level of frequency is not something that people are handing over to me, and I'm not out here chasing helicopters down. Okay? The entity is engaged in what is stalking. You have millions of people stalking one vagina. These are the demon-possessed. These are the pedophiles that are engaging in gang stalking. Okay? That's P.O.C. It is currently, we're playing activity, and everybody at ARCO is monitoring. Just like Ontario Police were this morning at 12 o'clock, and as I'm uploading video, and the Ontario Police are flying in circles, and ARCO is gang stalking. That's the time that you go fill up on your gas tank while you're helping the government that's stalking in the sky space. That's the pattern of conduct. That's the federal RICO case. Alrighty, profiting from gang stalking. License plate. Everybody filling up is gang stalking while the Ontario International Airport is stalking over here at the Ontario Downtown Luxury Apartments. 8UWZ160, 7FZT649, 7TIG413. They're all filling up their gas in, guess what? Engineer light. All right, so you can do whatever it is you think is going to make you look like you're not a gang stalker. But there is nothing that's going to make you look like you're not a gang stalker, because the federal government is not suffering from any illusions. And they know exactly the psychopaths that the people of the state are, that the demons are. And it's also very obvious when Alan D. WAPNER is maintaining planes where there should be no planes whatsoever. And when Mike LORENZ is keeping helicopters following me and a bunch of demons stalking in Ontario Police Department vehicles all day, all night, every day for years. The people of the state have no protection, no shelter, and no argument. And under the Constitution, they have no defense. And I'm going to prosecute like I stated years ago. License plate, 7FZT649. They're all filling up their gas tanks and engineer light. And Ontario International Airport is doing what the Ontario Police Department was doing last night. Stalking in the path, the means of amplified audible activity while monitoring me. 9LZZ275, 8UWZ160. While they are making purchases that's relevant to criminal conduct. This is part of the racketeering. All right, and the ARCO employee is gang stalking. All the ARCO customers are gang stalking. And these are demons that sit around waiting, oh, let me get a shot, let me touch her with some light. That's the mindset of a sex offender. Okay, that's the mind state of a sex offender, and they're actual sex offenders. They have sex with children, and they're actual sex offenders that are monitoring my vagina in bathrooms. Stalking in a bathroom, which is what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You're stalking in the bathroom with the demons that can't stop following me with in a fire, police, and ambulance, and under a fake sun, under a fake moon, with light that's not even naturally occurring, with ongoing amplified noise, so that you can reach where I'm located. You're stalking in a bathroom. You're a sex offender. You're also monitoring my vagina while you're stalking in that bathroom. You're a sex offender. You're going to prosecute for the sexual violence inherent to reaching out and touching all the time. They like to do that. You need to understand that this is what, also recognizing who are the pedophiles. Gang stalking is underway by a system of those that are maintaining, gang stalking is underway by those that are maintaining an ongoing sex trafficking of children, pedophilia, okay? This is what the entity is doing. Gang stalking with the demon across the street, license 6NYD346, molesting me with light. While you're across the street at ARCO, this demon over here is engaging in that sex offense with them. And this is how the sex offenders are exposing each other. All right, you're not driving off, going home, and never hearing from this again. I'm going to prosecute you. It's currently 9:19 p.m. All right, license 8ZRG033. Gang stalking on surveillance cameras and gang stalking by making a purchase at gas stall number 4 at 506 North Euclid Avenue. And because the Ontario International Airport is a gang stalker that's fully exposed as such, that's how you know conclusively, beyond what is the body of evidence of the P.O.C., that this is a co-defendant that's engaging in the exact same pattern of conduct. Stalking at a business establishment with that government that's stalking me up and down Euclid Avenue where the fake sun rises and sets, and maintains plane activity. That's how you know. Alan D. Wapner's idiotic pattern of stalking very openly, including on the venue of the internet now, is engaging in what is providing evidence against all of the demons that I'm documenting by license plate. And you are not going home and never going to hear about this again. I'm going to prosecute you. It's happening on the internet first. License 9, it's 9:28 p.m. This is P.O.C. at 506 North Euclid Avenue. That's a Chevron, where the demons are doing the exact same thing and molesting me while I'm all the way across the street, which is impossible light activity that I'm experiencing as I walk out of the OVITT Family Community Library. And Mickey, who's a violent sex offender engaging in homosexual violence, monitoring my vagina without my consent, is gang stalking while she is stalking in the path as she walks out, pursuant to what is giving all the demons a signal that I'm coming, okay? While they're all sitting in the dark, all those people I documented, all of them together, okay? That's the gang stalking conduct and more. That's just what I encountered. Those are demons that are sleepers. They're in position in case they're needed. Sitting in the dark, stalking, waiting, available to engage in activity creation. Those are psychopaths. And with regard to gang stalking, you need to understand that gang stalking, it comes before murder. Gang stalking comes before kidnapping. Gang stalking comes before rape. Gang stalking comes before robbery, etc. All right, it is currently 9:29 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, 9:32 p.m. Ontario International Airport, engaging in what is a flight that's not published on the website. Alan D. Wapner is indeed being removed from office for the public corruption that he has intentionally concealed regarding criminal monitoring, terrorism, psychological torture, war tactics utilized while planes are flying miles away from the airport, engaging in what is other conduct that is not published on the website. And by the way, Delta Airlines engaging in what is a flight over Ontario Town Square while Alan D. Wapner is watching me document the fact that these planes that are not taking off from the airport, and you're never going to, all Delta Airlines did, like it's been doing, was placed itself in the middle of the controversy as a gang stalker and a sex offender. But nonetheless, the entity that's engaging in that is doing so while mindful of my evidence. Delta Airlines flying over Ontario Town Square. I'm farther away from the Ontario Town Square where they were acting like they were taking off this morning and this afternoon. Southwest Airlines isn't taking off over Economy Inn. Delta Airlines isn't taking off from the airport over the Ontario Town Square. No airline, no commercial plane engaging in any flight from the Ontario International Airport is taking off at this intersection where I'm at. In the same way, the sun does not rise and set on one street in one city. Because how are you seeing the sun in Florida? Everyone that's listening. Okay? You are all being informed about what is a whole illusion regarding the environment.
because there are a lot of demons in this country. In other words, Satan uses a lot of people, more people than you know. They are a majority, but you're learning that this is not a numbers game. The reason why they are engaging in gang stalking is because these are timid creatures who engage in egregious, violent acts, unspeakable, okay? But this is not a numbers game. You're watching a bunch of demons who are being exposed and embarrassed for a failed sacrifice for which they are going to pay the penalty, spiritual and physical. Spiritual and physical, okay? Again, another flight, it's been 2 minutes, so that's within 120 seconds. This is plane activity that's not published on the Ontario National website, which Alan D. WAPNER, engaging in domestic terrorism and psychological torture, intentionally and deliberately has engaged in a pattern of keeping criminal activity off of that website. And no planes are taking off from that airport at this intersection, which is even farther from where they were flying, meaning it's more miles away. It's 4 miles away as opposed to 3 miles and some from the airport. You're not flying, hovering from the airport to then engage in what is rising in elevation over 224 North Euclid Avenue. This is the asininity that I'm approached with. It is as ridiculous as having the sun over 507 North Euclid Avenue, where, by the way, plane activity is hovering over that building where I am located. This is also why all the demons that are monitoring my vagina like Mickey are stalking me as a population where that fake sun never leaves Euclid Avenue. Okay? Those are the geniuses that are stalking in a very clearly articulated and proven method, which is also clearly demented. Using commercial planes, okay? So it needs to be revisited regarding the ability to get a pilot license in the United States because pilots are used to commit mass murder. They are key in engaging in domestic terrorism in this country, and it is not enough to go to a trade school, and it's not enough to do a surface level background check, whatever they call thorough. It's not thorough enough because you didn't even know about gang stalking. Demons that have a quote unquote clean record are engaging in this terrorism and gang stalking, which again, demons, terrorists like Alan D. WAPNER, a president of the airport authority, they are in position to make sure that demonic corrupt system remains concealed. And that's exactly why I'm exposing it. And you're talking about what is a systematic means of breaking down and imploding that system, okay? Gang stalking right now, let me get this light activity. Monitoring with light. These are psychopaths sitting on the side of the road, aiming light. These are weird. Understand, what the demons do with light is revealing what's wrong with them in their mind, okay? Very demented behavior. And not only that, you're talking about this is supposed to be under the cloak of being strangers. So you're outside in the middle of the night, aiming light at somebody, and this is what the Ontario police were doing at 12:35 a.m. Look at the video that was documented. All right, and you are stalking with light when I have shadows that are in front of me while I'm facing your light. This is a demon, another female, another homosexual. Okay, going here before she goes home to her boyfriend who doesn't know she's gay. U906XO. That's the license plate of that Kia Telluride. She's going home to her boyfriend or her baby's father. Or whoever is her fur babies or whoever who doesn't know that she's a homosexual, obsessively stalking another woman in the middle of the night. All right, this is P.O.C. It's currently 9:37 p.m. This is mental illness. Stalking in planes, that's evidence of mental illness. You're going to be diagnosed and criminally prosecuted. Stalking with light, that's evidence of mental illness. You're going to be diagnosed. Stalking within a helicopter. Stalking has a whole police department, a whole secret agency, all right, that's appearing under the guise of what is being authorized under the Constitution. That's evidence of severe mental illness. And the fact that you are stalking, and everybody in the world knows, and most importantly, the feds know. And also, aside from because the feds can know things that are not factual, this is factual and it's proven by tangible evidence. So the feds know the facts, and that's evidence of mental illness that you're stalking an American citizen. And moreover, you did it on video hundreds of times over to prove that you're demons who are exhibiting mental illness, meaning you put your demon position on your face. You're wearing it, okay? Everybody knows that you're demons and everybody knows that you're obsessed with me and my vagina, okay? The entities engaging in gang stalking in helicopters, that's evidence of mental illness. Having a whole population of people that sit around aiming light, sit around making sure that they surround you while light is being aimed all over because they're monitoring you, while they're sitting around trying to attack you spiritually, regarding what is feckless, watered down witchcraft that doesn't work, and it's going to go ricochet right back to them and traumatize them. Okay, this is the entity that's exhibiting mental illness, okay? That's the P.O.C. All right, demons stalking with light.
As I speak of it, psychopaths are surrounding themselves with evidence, and they're going to be crying in court because they don't want to be addressed and treated as mentally unstable. They don't want that on their record. It's going to be hard to get a date if they have one already, unless they're mentally ill like them. This is a demon stalking with light, a predator, license plate 9HCM416. While I'm speaking of impossible light activity, that's how there are no coincidences. While I speak of it, the demons surround me with it, and this demon is stalking in the path. He is monitoring, and there are no headlights that are going to create that. So while you want to be exposed and documented as a psychopath, that's your preference. I would never be caught. Well, I would never do this, but I would never be caught in that. The demons had to make up information about me. That's how immaculate my record is, and this is not bragging. This is the truth. I am both the wrong person to have attempted this upon, but I'm also the right person, because the Lord Jesus knows what he allowed these demons to do, knowing what they thought they were going to accomplish. It was never going to happen. Never. Okay? The entity had to make up information about my history, had to make it up. And by the way, every lie that they told, they're admitting about what they do. So when they're stating that I violate children, I sexually violate children, you are listening to pedophiles admit to what they're doing. It's the same thing. Why do you think that this system is built on the purpose of criminal defamation? Trying to defame you and make you look as though you're a lunatic, like you're crazy. Because the entity, the demons, they know that they're mentally sick, and they are actually miserable. They hate themselves, and they know that they're not right. This is a massive projection of mental illness that the demons hold. Okay? Those that are gang stalking. And by the way, it's also laid out in evidence in order to prosecute and diagnose. All right, it is currently, and that's for the entertainment pleasure of those that want to sit back and watch the P.O.C. Hopefully you are learning. This is fruitful information. It's informative information. It's designed to build you up, not incite fear. That is not of God. The spirit of fear is not of God whatsoever. And this is nothing that should cause you to be fearful at all. You're looking at a bunch of demons that are being embarrassed altogether. And that's part of what they've reaped, because they derive pleasure together from psychologically torturing people. They derive pleasure together by doing the absurdly demented things. Who finds pleasure out of monitoring somebody's vagina? She's in the bathroom wiping. What? And they think because they're all sick, they together have that secret pleasure about that. But in reality, amongst us normal people, us sane people, us healthy people, there's nothing normal or funny about that. And the fact that you are engaging in that conduct, this is just exposing what is the sickness in the demons that I clearly identified. You're sitting around an engineer light. You're not sitting on the side. And by the way, under the Constitution, you don't have any right to be anywhere, including at work, at home. I'm prosecuting you. You have no defense. I'm going to prosecute you. Hi. It is currently 9:41 p.m. By the way, the entity is monitoring through the people of the state that come and approach to speak to me. But I do want to follow up with documentation. The entity, well, again, that's why there's no such thing as a genuine friend or a friendly conversation. You're in my face, and it's duplicitous conduct. And this is, again, I deal with the demon possessed. I deal with the wicked very diplomatically. And that escalates based on what it is that they do. I'm going to continuously document, and they remain the psychopath. They remain the criminal. And they're also reaping what they sow based on how they approach me when you're in the wrong, and you are on the very wrong side of the law. I mean, you're a terrorist, and if you think you've got some principled stance regarding you don't like how I'm speaking to you while you're gang stalking me, you don't even have a right on the Constitution to be there, and you're delusional because you haven't sat and experienced those constitutional repercussions yet. That's the entity that's engaging in the pattern of conduct and based on how they approach. But nonetheless, it is no less of a threat to my life. You're no less harassment, no less terrorism. Even while you hear me be very respectful and courteous and quite diplomatic to demons who are gang stalking me. All the same. And so while I'm in the midst of this conversation by somebody, as you could hear in the background, approach me abruptly, unexpectedly, but I recognize the face, that doesn't make them a friend. I don't have any friends. This is an entity that's targeting. My mother is a gang stalking demon. Okay? My brother is a gang stalking demon. These demons that are lurking in the night, stalking in the parking lot, monitoring my vagina, stalking me with noise, that's Eric Corey Spencer, that's Tracy Lemire Banks. That's Jason Isaac Fields, a fake friend. And they're going to federal prison for what they're sharing and while I'm documenting them now. And this is what is so fatal about this system. Because while these demons are engaging in, this is why you don't engage in criminal activity, period. But this is why you don't engage in criminal activity with people that become a liability, because they're all mentally sick. And the inability to control yourself means your co-defendant is going to get you in trouble. While I'm documenting these demons, guess who's going to federal prison? And that's the point. Tracy Banks is going to federal prison. Her sex partner, Jason Isaac Fields, is going to federal prison. Her co-defendant, Eric Spencer, and I don't know if Eric Spencer is Tracy Banks' sex partner as well. They're engaged in incest. They're engaged in pedophilia. They're engaged in sex ritual, a whole secret lifestyle of my fake family members who worship Satan. I'm the only one that I did not know I was surrounded by cult members, okay? But they stand out like a sore thumb now. Okay, but this is an entity that's engaged in criminal conduct for which a very specific people are going to federal prison. This is what they solicited. This is what they're going in on, trying to murder me and then profit off of it. You're going to federal prison. And that will be the case for any client that I was representing in court for what is a case for terrorism against the government. Because when I prosecute you, you're going to federal prison for it. Because of the level of malice that I know firsthand is inherent to gang stalking as a fake friend, family, colleague, okay? The entity is doing this with regard to the intent to commit a murder, and to commit a murder that nobody sees coming, or so they thought. So because I deal diplomatically with terrorists does not mean that they are any less of a threat. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. It takes the right person in order to confront this system in the first place. And by the way, this is an entity that miscalculated, sorely miscalculated. A lowlife like Jason Isaac Fields, who comes from the gutter, and this is not a downer because you can come from nowhere and the Lord Jesus will make you a testimony to the nations. But this is a lowlife. He is still a lowlife. He's a thief. He's a sex addict. He's an alcoholic. I can keep on naming his flaws, and that's because he first sought to murder me and defame my character based on fallacies. But I'm speaking facts about this demon, okay? And he's engaged in criminal conduct and has been engaged in targeting me because this demon wanted to steal my property and my money. This lowlife thief, this criminal, okay? This thug. All right, the entity's engaged in this criminal conduct, and he's going to federal prison for it because I know his name. And the feds know even more about him. They have details about the lies that he spoke, the fables that he was telling in secret court hearings pertaining to undisclosed property and money that this stranger essentially should not even have any knowledge about. How do you even know about property that I have and I don't know anything about it? That's, by the way, by default, you're going to prison. Okay, not only do I know your name, you have insight on things that belong to me, and you have first dibs on it, while you're then gang stalking me into an economic problem with regard to the inability to keep a job and not be subject to gang stalking by the LAPD. You're going to prison in case you did not connect those dots yet. That is what is occurring with regard to trying to murder someone. They're trying to set you up and put you in a circumstance where that is going to be your fault in one way or another. Blaming the target individual. Oh, it's because they're on drugs. Oh, it's because they're prostituting. Oh, it's because they're engaging in criminal conduct. They're going and kidnapping kids all over the place. You know, oh, it's because they're worshiping the devil. This is what the entity is speaking about itself, and the criminal conduct that I have been accused of, including by this terrorist Jason Isaac Fields, this lowlife that was disqualified to ever be in the federal government under any circumstances. He only got this job because he's targeting me, and I mean that. Okay, he only got it because the entity that is corrupt saw him as an opportunity to target me. That is literally why Jason Isaac Fields has any sort of position with the federal government, which if he's still holding, that is speaking to the corruption of that federal government, which I will have no association with. The only association will be in what is a case name to prosecute the federal government. Okay, it's currently 10:05 p.m. and I wanted to document that. The entity that is interfering with my documentation and despite my diplomatically dealing with terrorists who are providing evidence against the rest of the entity. This is why, like I stated, you don't go into criminal conduct at all, but you certainly don't do it with people that will become a liability, because while you are both crackheads, that other crackhead, you might have slowed down on your crack intake, but the other one, they're not so much of a functional crackhead. And so they're getting you in trouble, and you guys conspired together in your spree of crimes. And guess who's going to federal prison for everything that your crackhead co-defendant engages in, your crackhead co-conspirator engages in? You're going to prison for it. And if you think that you slow down on your crack intake is going to remove you from that established conspiracy as a matter of law, you are sorely mistaken. You're as delusional as these demons following me around in the city in a specific, an unmistakable environment in planes and helicopters. And you're witnessing the criminal activity in real time. So you're talking about the feds sitting back watching it and then going in and doing a raid. They know exactly everything that you're doing. They know where you're at. They know the way in which they're watching you as you go to commit the crime that I document on video and then put on the internet. Okay? That's how diligent this investigation of the United States government is. That's how comprehensive this prosecution is going to be. Okay? I'm going to get these sex offenders over here gang stalking. They are acting, that alarm is pursuant to my crossing a path. This is the demon that's going to, I'm going to document the facilitating venue that she's going into as well. It's a gang stalking establishment, 8ZKY682. A bunch of demons. Again, Starbucks is supposed to be the guise of a bunch of demons stalking with light. License plate. You've got, what is license 5ZOT771. Title 18, federal stalking, doing so on behalf of the government. Title 18, federal stalking, doing so on behalf of the government. License 7DXG120. And by the way, what they're doing at nightfall with their headphones is what they're doing during the day under a fake sun that remains over my head. So you're understanding the iteration of what is the objective of stalking with light. This is what they're doing while the fake sun is the provision of that ongoing light source. So at nightfall, they are standing out when they're all stalking, lurking in the dark with a method of light. They're demons. In the way that you clearly see it while the fake sun moves all around me. But while they move, that fake sun doesn't remain over them. It remains over me. These are demons that are stalking with light, and it's the outward demonstration of severe mental instability. Those that are prone to engage in sexually violent attacks. Those that are prone to engage in what are acts of violence. This is the entity that is gang stalking right now. So I'm going to go ahead and capture that while they're stalking in the path. The Ontario International Airport is, again, mocking some sort of takeoff from Lemon Avenue. This is P.O.C. And while they listen to me document, they engage in what is a U-turn, where there will be no planes ever in this sky space over here. When you're taking off from 2500 Airport Road, the sound of that plane activity is amplified audible activity. It's demonic. While a bunch of demons are at 507 North Euclid Avenue, gang stalking. So who's gang stalking with Alan D. WAPNER, who's being removed from office? 8ZKY682. Pacing to and from the entrance door, this gang stalker driving a white BMW, gonna go home to his gay lover, or go home to his wife, or he's stalking a woman, and she's probably stalking me too. She's probably on the record. If he has someone else, he's stalking me in the middle of the night like a loser, 9FLB258 with no life, stalking with the Ontario International Airport, 7DXG120. That's what's related with regard to stalking with light when my shadow is in front of me and I'm facing your light. This is impossible, like my magnified shadow behind me. That's a demon. And gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport. And psychopaths like to look perplexed when they're caught. There's no question about what the Ontario Police is doing, no question about what the fire department is doing, and who they're doing with demons that are stalking with light, psychopaths. Another demon monitoring with her. They're not reversing. This is all demonic. This is where the fake sun at 507 North Euclid Avenue remains for 12 hours in the day. This is where they engaged in kidnapping under a fake sun. The fake sun was right here in the window where L. Edwards met his fate. He's going to federal prison for gang stalking and kidnapping with Starbucks, who is still gang stalking right now. 2NA7HL. This is P.O.C. This is my shadow over here. This is another shadow right here. And this is called stalking with light. And this is what's coexisting while the demons are deviating from any airport takeoffs, and it's not published on the website, and it has nothing to do with what our arrivals and departures, where Alan D. WAPNER is going to be removed from office while every lowlife in the city of Ontario is gang stalking me. This is P.O.C. This is another homosexual. License 2NA7HL, obsessively monitoring my vagina. This is P.O.C., an operation of a communication device, stalking with light, which is a terrorizing threat. While the people that say there are a bunch of demons stalking you obsessively in the night, on behalf of a government that flies all around you and over your head, following you with helicopters and kidnapping you. Okay? That's P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 10:10 p.m. Alrighty, it is currently, you're listening to me capture video of the Ontario International Airport gang stalking. Across the street at Chevron, they're stalking in the parking lot, stalking in the path. They do the same thing by being at the gas stalls, they're stalking in the path. They're gang stalking at the ARCO pump, they're stalking in the path, and all of Euclid Avenue. You'll recall this while they are driving on Euclid Avenue during the day while I'm being gang stalked at Starbucks. This is the same entity that's stalking with impossible light that's shooting inside of the Starbucks. Impossible light activity that's shooting through the glass, shooting through the walls, and while I walk outside, it's scraping all across the outside of the Starbucks, but none of that is sunlight, and they're not aiming headlights. These are demons that are sitting in vehicles that have headlights, but this is a whole demonic environment, and it's breaking down that illusion. Okay, that illusion is as real as the fake sun that sits over Starbucks as a matter of documentation from 6 a.m. until after 7 p.m. This is P.O.C. And that is, again, L&D WAPNER's engagement in that pattern of conduct. And I understand the entities engaging in what is conduct that is going to necessarily remove the public officials who are engaged in pedophilia, who are facilitating violence amongst an entity that is conspiring murder, and that includes Starbucks. Okay, why are they outside of Starbucks? Because this is supposed to be the guise under which they are engaging in, oh no, I'm not stalking you, I'm getting Starbucks coffee. This is what the entity presupposes is going to be. It's not it's an admission to criminal monitoring. All right, the entities engage in this while they are engaging in gang stalking together with the government that engages in what is criminal activity right along with them. Right along with them. Glorious Cochinas is gang stalking. All right, doing so while the demons are maintaining presence on the outside and relevant position on the same street, stalking in the path. And the people of the state, I'm going to document this venue adjacent to Starbucks. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct. I already read her license plate, and so going into what she's accessing it at after hours, so I surmise this is some sort of venue. It's a gang stalking venue, and I've been documenting it while the fake sun remained over me. She was gang stalking the whole time. But nonetheless, I'm going to document by address right now. It is currently 10:12 p.m. All right, this demon that's engaging in domestic terrorism is engaging in what is stalking with light. That's a form of psychological torture. Doing so with the government on video, Ontario International Airport, deviating from the airport necessarily so in using commercial planes over this sky space over here and hovering, not just over the sky space, but hovering in the sky space in order to be the guise for what is amplified plane activity. It's demonic activity. It's terrorizing. And this is also where third-party facilitating venue, whose license plate I already recited, and accessing this third-party facilitating venue. This is a crime scene. Address 519 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. The Beauty Bum Permanent Makeup. They are demons, and they're engaging in gang stalking. And those sex offenders are stalking in the middle of the night. And what is their alibi? You don't have an alibi, but what is their plan? Okay, we're just going to go and sit. We're going to stalk with light, and then we're just going to get up and go into the venue. It's my business. I can go in there anytime I want, and I'm not there stalking the target individual. I'm there to go into my business. Your business is a place of an admission regarding criminal presence. 9FXM 555. And the entities engaged in this pattern of conduct with regard to the public corruption that the whole government in Ontario is engaging in. This is the entity, and you're surrounded with evidence. You're surrounded with evidence. The city of Monrovia, the city of San Diego is surrounding this demon with evidence, okay? That's a prosecution of every business in the state of California. But like I said, this is the P.O.C. Third-party facilitating venue. This little mom-and-pop company is engaging in domestic terrorism. And this is why no so-called job creator is remaining in this country as a terrorist, a gang-stalking immigrant. You're out of this country. You and your corrupt business are engaging in surveillance, and you're out of this country. Okay? This is impunity that you're witnessing me confront. This is relevant to the gang-stalking immigrants who are very much disillusioned with the notion, the fallacy, that you are some sort of entitled citizen. That there's no such thing. It's a privilege to be in this country. And it's a matter of what is principle and ideas that we share, not because you signed some paperwork and you passed some fifth grade exam and lied and said that you care about the Constitution. Okay, you will be kicked out of this country, and that's going to be permanent. And it's not because you're not, if you're thinking another, the reason why I'm addressing this is because these gang stalking immigrants, especially where they find some, oh, well, I'm valuable to the, no, you're not. You're a liability. You're an embarrassment. Okay, you are literally a stain. You're exactly why you represent why deportation is going to be enforced. That's why. Okay, because of the entity that's engaging in gang stalking. All right, the kidnapper that is engaged in the P.O.C. on July 4th, 2025 is engaged in the pattern of conduct, pulling up to the Starbucks, and surrounding behind is the demon that is at Chevron, stalking in the path, turning around while she knows I'm taking a picture of her. These are the demons that are engaged in that P.O.C. together. All right, this is the demon that's gang stalking, driving in the gray Galant, I believe. If it's not an employee, having the same one. License EE42J29. That's a paper plate. But the entity is stalking with light nonetheless. There is an employee associated with Starbucks that engaged in kidnapping that drives the same vehicle. That's why I'm referencing that third party. Oh, but it doesn't look like him. Never mind. Anyway, it's currently 10:17 p.m. This is P.O.C. And I wanted to make sure that I specifically document this third party. I'm going to add them to the podcast. It's relevant for prosecuting little mom and pop companies. It's designed to crush your company. So your company not surviving civil and criminal prosecution, that's a part of the design of the prosecution of gang stalking businesses, gang stalking population. This is P.O.C. The entity is literally focusing on Starbucks, which is closed, Starbucks, which has a drive-through. And in this antisocial generation, the only reason why they're sitting in Starbucks is because I am the target individual sitting in Starbucks. The only reason why they're going inside of Starbucks is because I am the target individual that is seated outside of Starbucks now. The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct in doing so, pacing, light activity, while they are engaging in the elements of monitoring. Going to the restaurant, that these are demons. They're engaging in surveillance. They know what's going on with my vagina, and they know the surrounding venues around me are also closed. These are the unintelligent ignoramuses stalking under a fake sun all day long. They couldn't figure that part out, but they didn't know that the facilitating venue of Starbucks is closed right now while they're stalking in the specific environment. These are the demons that are going to be deported, any gang stalking immigrants, and you are not valuable to this country because you are a so-called job maker. You're going to be deported, and that business is going to cease to exist. Okay, you're not needed. You're not indispensable, and you're not staying in this country. All right, it is currently 10:18 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, license plate 7PDB902, 8PBT113. These are all sex offenders. They're pedophiles, but they're literally sex offenders because they're sexually violating me. They're all molesting me with impossible, like reaching out, going all out of their way to try to touch me. License 9TFK552 while they're stalking. It's not enough that they're stalking. They want to touch and stalk, okay? They want to keep my vagina under surveillance while they touch and stalk. These are the sex offenders. Those are the license plates of the gang stalkers. It's currently 10:19 p.m. All right, these demons flashing me with light, that's C. Hazelwood. And you already know who C. Hazelwood is gang stalking. Looks like C. Hazelwood and Owens gang stalking me while aiming light over here at the venue where you already know is 519 North Euclid Avenue. They're inside. I already documented their license plates. Their license plates are right here. And C. Hazelwood and Owens, the ones that engaged in attempted kidnapping, are engaging in that pattern of conduct together, shining me with light while they're across the street. All right, this is the P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 10:36 a.m. They're monitoring on my device while they're engaging what is stalking with light. C. Hazelwood and Owens engaged in kidnapping on July 15, 2025. This is demonic. This is the same conduct with that they're engaging when they're stalking with helicopters. These are the two that are going to federal prison. All right, this is P.O.C. That's vehicle 1062. My shadow's appearing on the outside of that vehicle. That's impossible light activity. That's P.O.C. And they're engaging in that pattern of conduct. Who are you? Owens? Owens and Hazelwood, right?
Yes. Hazelwood.
Is that why you guys flashing me with light?
What light?
What light? You were flashing me with light? Were you looking inside of that building or were you looking at me?
You're looking inside that building.
Why are you looking for me inside the building?
So we got a phone call that you were trespassing in front of 519 North Euclid. Obviously over here you're in public space. You're minding your
How
own
am I
business. We don't have
trespassing?
an issue with
How am I
that.
trespassing? I went inside?
No.
So what's the trespassing?
Like I said, they called and said you were trespassing.
Oh, so they called and lied. This is criminal summoning. They're always lying. That's 519 North Euclid Avenue, and you responded to it. They didn't tell you I went inside, and you're naming that. That's a legal definition for a trespass. You know that, right? Did they say I broke?
If you're on their property or
The sidewalk is public property. So what is?
you know I'm here. I'm being
That's
cool
not
with
an
you.
excuse.
I'm just
You're not.
asking you.
When you're shining me with light and you're monitoring, that's not being cool.
I didn't shine you with
And
light.
first of all, she didn't say I went inside of her establishment.
I never said that.
How am I trespassing then?
I just explained that to you.
No, you didn't.
Okay, you see how the sidewalk comes down?
Yeah.
And then there's that little entrance in front of their door?
Yeah, the walkway?
Yeah. On the edge of the building, that's considered their property.
Uh-huh. And what they said what?
So listen.
I'm listening.
Right now, you're obviously not there. You're not breaking the law right now. I'm just asking you.
This
so
is
we don't have
harassment.
to
This is
bother
audible
you,
activity, light activity.
If you could please refrain from hanging
From
out
doing
over there
what?
so I don't get another call so I don't have to bother you tonight.
Okay, this is a threat to engage in kidnapping like they already did. Lying about surveillance cameras regarding why they were monitoring me at the Topor Professional Building, number one. Number two, I was never at their threshold, at the threshold of the door.
People call
and
that
secondly,
stuff all the time. I'm
yeah,
just
it's
telling
called
you
gang
right
stalking, which is what you're doing now.
Gang
Yeah, it's called gang stalking.
you
And
a
your
gangster?
partner's going to federal prison. No, you're not a gangster. That's why you're here, shining light in the middle of the night, making up excuses as to why you're harassing me. This is pathetic.
harassing you.
Yes, you are.
free
And
to
you're,
go.
I know I'm free to go. I'm asking you questions because I'm documenting you.
making
You're
sure
going to
you're
prison. This is ridiculous, and that's why my attitude is at this level, because this is the second time you guys engage in violating my constitutional rights.
De-escalate this a little bit?
No, you're not. No, you're not. You put your hands on me, and you had no right to do so before. You searched all of... They're gang stalking right now, monitoring. Start recording again. This is P.O.C. They're monitoring on my devices, turning the camera on and off. This is P.O.C. All right, Owens is driving vehicle 1062, stalking with light, and Hazelwood is driving vehicle 1107, license 1680783. They're both monitoring. You'll see the camera, and I want to be clear, the entity is engaging what is admittedly criminal summoning and interfering. They're interfering with my recording in real time. So I was talking to Owens, recording the entire exchange. And they lied. They're lying because the people of the state are monitoring. I'm documenting them gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport, and the entity engages in criminal summoning to try to harass. And that's supposed to incite fear. Criminal summoning on the part of 8ZKY682, who is inside of 519 North Euclid Avenue, and also license 2NA7H1 inside of the 519 North Euclid Avenue, gang stalking with Starbucks personnel. Okay, being on the sidewalk is the entity that's engaged. This is what Turner is stating: a trespass when I'm on also at the same time public property, the sidewalk, and stating that he got a call. They're engaging in what is criminal monitoring. They're not getting any call. Okay, they're engaged in the pattern of conduct together, but stated while they knew that my phone wasn't recording because I pressed record. You'll see them walking toward the demons that are monitoring on Euclid Avenue, interfering with the operation of my device, and they're stating, Turner stated what is absolutely constitutionally protected conduct, including while I'm documenting gang stalking. And they're operating under this illusion of private property. So I want to document, I'm capturing the screenshots because I'm going to show you what is the interference with my communication device, which is stating that I don't have enough space, stating that I can't record. Owens and C. Hazelwood are going to federal prison while they're gang stalking with, again, 517 North Euclid Avenue. 519 North Euclid Avenue, lying and stating that I approached or tried to get into their venue. I'm documenting exactly what happened. They're monitoring me, and they did so as I captured it on video as well. And then the entity that's engaged in what is seeking for they're thirsty for anything with regard to wanting to be in my face and harass. They're going to federal prison for that, including the video evidence of the interference of that video documentation. That is literally the criminal conduct of obstruction of justice that Turner and C. Hazelwood are engaging in while their co-defendants, the people of the state, are swarming all around in the same engineer light. This is what the entity is doing while the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking here, while the people of the state that I'm documenting, including 519 North Euclid Avenue, hostile demons who lied and stated out of the mouth of Turner, who were confidently speaking to me before I resumed recording. When I realized my phone wasn't recording anymore, at the moment that I pressed record, those demons turned away. That's what you see them doing, walking away. And then the camera interferes again. It's not because there's something wrong with my camera or my phone. Those demons were monitoring, and they were monitoring with the intent to try to incite fear, kidnapping that they already committed. So I'm asking him questions because there is absolutely no basis for him to be in my face, because they're gang stalking, number one, but also because in their alternate universe where they have authority under the law, which I'm going to prosecute for, they're engaging in what is lying about their basis for presence. Oh, we were called in. I don't know that you did any trespassing, but I don't want to get any more calls about you trespassing because I don't want to be in your face, even though that they want to be in my face. That's exactly why they're there. They were monitoring the entire time, including while I'm documenting 519 North Euclid Avenue is gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department. First of all, so they're mindful and aware of everything that's happening, and then psychopaths approach you as though they learned about something that you potentially committed, and then they're coming and asking you questions about it. These are the demons that are stalking under the fake sun on Euclid Avenue that's rising and setting on the street in alignment to me. Owens and C. Hazelwood are exhibiting severe mental illness. That level of malice is relevant to the corruption of that entire department that is being disbanded for this very reason. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct amongst toward American citizens that typically do not have what is the skill set and the wherewithal, the presence of mind to respond to the constitutionally absurd statements that this demon is making. So I'm going to go again over it. I have 3 minutes of video where I am capturing these demons. First of all, they shine light on me, and then C. Hazelwood, again, this is a demon. They're in engineer light. This is where the fake sun is rising and setting. They're already surrounded with that. These are demons where, again, but for the evidence of the P.O.C, you're always relying on what the entity is representing, but that's not the case here. So this demon is denying flashing me with light. That's what caught my attention in the first place, because they could have pulled up behind me quietly and I wouldn't have known. I was abruptly
flashed with extraordinarily bright light, and then those demons get out of their car and walk toward the venue 519. Those are psychopaths. Again, the stalking with light conduct. Ooh, I'm gonna flash you, and then turn their back to me. And their whole purpose is to be here gang stalking under the iteration of a demon masquerading as a police officer. Okay, and not only is this a demon masquerading as a police officer, this is a demon masquerading as a police officer that has no reason to even be in my face while acting like a police officer. He literally stated that he got a call that I was engaging in a trespass. They are approaching me while I'm standing on the sidewalk. These are the same demons that lied about getting a call based on surveillance cameras at the Tabor Professional Building. That's the reason why they were present in my face, and that's also the reason why they released me from that kidnapping, because of that evidence of trespassing that they had on camera when they were summoned by the Tabor Professional Building, those property holders of the Mother's Nutrition. That's why they released me from that kidnapping, because they had that surveillance camera, which supported what was the reason why they were called in the first place. That's why they released me that night, because of that. The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct, and this is reminiscent of that same iteration of that same P.O.C. First of all, they're out here on what is a farcical purpose. It's nothing other than audible activity. Owens and C. Hazelwood in particular are going to federal prison. Their gang stalking and their audible activity is reminiscent of the attempted kidnapping that they committed on July 15, 2025. The attempted kidnapping and the unlawful search and the unlawful seizure of my person. Okay? And they're doing so while they are stating that a lot of the statements I have on here.
If you could please refrain.
Okay, I have 3 minutes of footage on here, and the entity is interfering with that video, so I'm going to include even the broken up 3 seconds. I'm going to include all that. I'm going to include all that because it's the evidence of the entity, it's federal stalking, it's monitoring. So a lot of times when you're operating your devices and you're thinking, oh, my internet's not working, oh, maybe I need to pay my bill, or maybe they're having an outage or something. You need to understand that we are under surveillance. I mean, heavy duty surveillance. And these demons are not missing anything. You're not only being monitored through the use of technology, you're being monitored through monitoring spirits who also know what you're doing. They're not missing anything. And they are keeping a tight rein on everything and everything that you have access to, including internet, including the use of your devices. And interruption of your device and use of it can be for any purpose, if not just to merely harass you. Okay? And you don't know the reason why. It's monitoring. You don't have any malfunctioning because the entity is engaging in what is monitoring you using that same resource. There's no malfunction. It's just yours isn't operating. Okay, and that's for whatever purpose, if nothing else, merely to harass and psychologically torture you. Okay, and the entity is engaging in this, and so I do have 3 minutes of it. Okay, I press record, and so I did not look down. I was literally pressing Turner as to why he was in my face. Like, why are you coming across the street while I'm standing on public property talking to me about what is literally nonsense, okay? And it's all audible activity monitoring. You know why? Because the Ontario Police wanted to get in my face. This is a passive-aggressive means of showing hostility. They're bearing weapons. These are demons that are monitoring. These are demons that also feel some sense of power based on everything. Remember, everything that I said tonight, these demons are sitting around listening, and they're exceedingly hostile. So gang stalking by the police officers that fly over me for 9 minutes in helicopter, that fly over my head repeatedly as I'm documenting, this is an iteration of that same conduct, okay? This is P.O.C, and that's the same police department that's going to federal prison. So there's no question about what L. Edwards is doing while the Ontario Police is flying over right now. That's not a coincidence. L. Edwards, C. Hazelwood, and what is Owens are engaging in that P.O.C. while the entity is engaging in what is stating that they got a call from a third party, which is an easy means of what is engaging in what is harassment and kidnapping. That's also going to be addressed under the federal law that is exposing pursuant to surveillance. So no longer are you going to be able to just call the police on people for no reason, making it up. And because this is providing what you are witnessing, the ability for the police to gang stalk you in your face, because that's what they want to do. They want an encounter. This is a threat to your life and your safety and your liberty while they are committing murders while they're in that position. They're engaging in psychological torture while they're stalking in helicopters, by the way, while they're violating your liberty rights, and they're doing so because someone told them that you did something. This is where the targeting system is underway, and this is where necessitating that the laws change because the government is proven to be engaged in surveillance where targeting is underway. Targeting is what is utilized with regard to quote-unquote calls about allegations, and the entity that is maliciously making those allegations, that is the entity that is gang stalking, is the entity that's going to federal prison, okay? Now, again, those license plates include the third parties that are stalking right now with helicopter, the same third parties. So let me read you their license plates.
because they are subject to federal prison. All right, the entity flies over, as I referred to them, stalking by helicopter, and the entity flies over by helicopter. They're engaging in what is stating a trespass that is impossible to occur when I'm not entering inside of your venue. This is the entity that's doing so based on hostility, and they're engaging not only criminal summoning, they're engaging in gang stalking right now with the Ontario Police by helicopter, and this is while they're engaging in what is obstruction of justice tactics. And this is the entity that does so in the face of the federal government, that are listening to the rules. These are the laws. These are the policies that surround, and this is how they're going to be prosecuted. Okay? The entities engaged in this conduct, and they're having a good old time stalking by helicopter. As I refer to helicopter, guess who's going to federal prison for it? C. Hazelwood and Owens, and so is this third party 8ZKY682, and this Arizona plate 2NA7H1. These are the rules, and this is the law regarding federal group stalking and monitoring. And they're going to federal prison, and their co-defendants that are inside of Starbucks still gang stalking right now. They're already headed to federal prison. They committed a documented kidnapping as well with the demons that are still stalking me at this Starbucks and helicopter right now at the moment that I refer to them. I just want to be clear. This is the federal law, and the entity is already violating it. You're going to federal prison. Owens, you're gang stalking that's occurring under the fake sun, wearing the Ontario Police Department uniform, you can look forward to federal prison. That's exactly where you're going. This is the law surrounding you, and you're going to federal prison. And this is the same with regard to the people of the state. Like these demons admitted on video, this is evidence that's going to put them in federal prison. License 5ZOT771, license 8ZKY682, and again, this Arizona plate, they're going to federal prison, okay? Starbucks is in relevant position gang stalking, but Starbucks is a part of the entity that engaged in criminal summoning, but they are not the ones that engage in the malicious iteration of picking up the phone and calling the demons, which is nothing other than details in a malicious system. They don't have to call and tell them anything. This is why the Ontario Police stalk by helicopter the moment that I referred to them. Because you're so psychopathic and acting like you're ignorant, hey, I'm just here because I got a call. You know, I'm Officer P. Diddy, and I don't know anything about what happened, so why don't you let me know? Did you commit a trespass? This sex offender's in my face gang stalking after having committed a kidnapping, and he's going to federal prison. Owens and C. Hazelwood. That's the third time I've encountered this bald-headed psychopath. C. Hazelwood, he's going to federal prison, and so is Owens, okay? They're monitoring on my phone, by the way, and the moment that I look at that and notice it and press record, immediately those demons turn around and walk back. Okay, they had confidence exchanging with me while they were monitoring me. These demons just want to be in my face. They just want to be in my face while I'm questioning them, and I'm capturing it. That's fine because I'm putting it on video. I dare you to kidnap. You're going to federal prison. This is what the thing. They're doing it now. Jason Knighton is going to federal prison. There is no statute of limitations. He's going to federal prison. Lester Keys is going to federal prison. S. Patty A. Morris, Corporal Kemp, you're going to federal prison. You have C. Skattel. She's going to federal prison. There's a laundry list of kidnappers. You're going to federal prison. The entity that's kidnapping with the sheriff's department, the entity that's kidnapping with the courts, you're listening to the law being laid down. And today you're breaking it like it's not real life, and you're really going to federal prison for it. The federal government is watching me lay down the law and watching you violate it with this level of impunity, which is necessitating that very consequence. And it's going to be made an example to the rest of the country. Gang stalking police officers go to federal prison, and so does everybody else cooperating with that. This is P.O.C. And those demons are going to federal prison while the Ontario Police provide evidence against them. The Ontario Police rely on their criminal activity to achieve that criminal result, which is an unlawful threat to the constitutional and human rights to American citizens. They're stalking every day in helicopters. You're not engaging in that level of criminal conduct in furtherance of murder and avoiding a federal cell. That's P.O.C. This is C. Owens and Owens this is C. Hazelwood and Owens who are going to federal prison. You hear the helicopter activity? Because that's what they were doing when they were in my face in the engineered environment on behalf of a gang stalking police department that did not get any phone call about trespassing. They engaged in federal stalking, and targeting is executed in the manner of referring to third parties that I documented and then coming in my face and threatening me and with the intent to obstruct justice. That's not a phone call. They're engaged in surveillance, and Owens and Hazelwood, like I stated, are going to federal prison. And that is the law regarding federal group stalking and monitoring and gang stalking demons who want to dress up like it's Halloween, like they're police officers, okay? They're going to federal prison. All right, walking out of the venue are these overweight minions that are lying. Oh, and they're lying as an entity. Okay, there's nobody that walked inside of their little raggedy, it looks like a broken down apartment, wearing permanent makeup. Permanent makeup's not going to do anything about the demons on them while they're engaging in what is homosexual conduct, stalking me in the middle of the night by going down to their broken down venue where they don't make any money. Nobody knows anything about them, but the fact that they're gang stalking and they're going to federal prison with the Ontario police that are stalking by helicopter and stalking in concert with C. Hazelwood and what is Owens. Okay, this is P.O.C. and they're monitoring right now while the entity sounds helicopter and they're getting in their vehicles. It's relevant positioning, audible activity by helicopter, and also light activity. They're engaged in federal stalking, and these demons are going to federal prison. Her little broken down venue, her little broke down business is not going to survive. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is criminal conduct. This is exactly what L. Edwards is engaging in. This is what Alex Escobar is engaging in A. Quesada at the adjacent venue, Starbucks, under the fake sun. The entity is going to federal prison for that. And that lie, talking about I trespass going into your little raggedy establishment. I don't even wear makeup, let alone some permanent makeup that I wouldn't let some demon put on my face. Talking about I'm trespassing and you're obsessed with my vagina. This is the demon. These are the demons that are going to be placed in federal prison. Again, that's license AZKY 682. Stalking with the Ontario Police Department in real time. All right, that's POC. I'm documenting that, capturing what is images and screenshots while they're stalking in the path. All right, their little raggedy establishment is where they're hiding in relevant position, monitoring and engaging in what is a documented act of retaliation because they're hostile while I document them gang stalk with the Ontario International Airport. And it's POC. It's POC. The entity's engaging in that, and this is Mike Lorenz. He takes it as a joke, but Mike Lorenz will find himself in federal prison. Keep thinking that it's a joke and these demons are stalking, and they're really going to be in federal court, and they're really going to be subject to federal prison. All right, but this is the entity that takes very lightly domestic terrorism. You're witnessing the impunity of the demon-possessed. They are mentally ill, and like I stated, engaging in what are acts of kidnapping, engaging in what are acts of sexual violence. These are the same demons that sit around and congregate around my vagina, and they engage in what are an iteration of the same gang stalking system by summoning the murderers, the kidnappers themselves, the Ontario Police Department. All right, that's the entity that's engaged in that, and I want to make sure that you're understanding that that's committed with the intent to obstruct justice. And those demons engaged in what is wanting to touch me, they're the same sex offenders stalking at 12 o'clock in the morning when I'm documenting those demons stalking me while I'm sitting there in the middle of a parking lot across the street, and there's no headlights that are touching me from that distance. Those are demons that want to come close to me and touch me with light and be in my presence while they are overtly expressing aggression, the pattern of conduct, legally and analyzing what's happening. It's an act of violence. It's an act of terrorism. It's a violation of my rights. But this is the entity that wants to be close. They're obsessively stalking and monitoring. And they're doing so in a manner that the federal courts, the federal law is going to recognize and it's going to appreciate. This is Baghdad type conduct, and we are in California, okay? The United States of America. And this is what the entity is doing to ordinary targeted individuals who don't have any evidence of the POC. All right, they're ganged up upon, people lie on them, and they end up sitting in jail for the weekend. The entity is isolated from their family, treating them like they're a criminal, and this is how they have a manufactured criminal record, which then the entity uses against them to make them falsely depict their character as though they're some sort of menace to society. In order to isolate them, in order to take them, in order to violate their rights in one way or another with regard to a narrative that the demon possessor are maintaining while they're being gang stalked by the police, who are relying on the criminal conduct of the people of the state. You're going to federal prison. And that is all of that which is occurring in furtherance of murder. So the entity is taking very lightly an iteration of gang stalking, which is committed in furtherance of committing murder. And the entity is going willy-nilly with helicopter activity. Understand how lightly the demon-possessed are engaging in this very serious act of terrorism that I'm documenting. They're going to federal prison, though. All right? This is POC. It is currently 10:57 p.m. These are the laws that are surrounding the system of federal group stalking and monitoring, and this is what is necessary with regard to disincentivizing corruption by sociopaths who think that they are some sort of god, some sort of king, because they wear police uniforms and that they're going to get away with what they're doing, and they're not. They're going to be crushed with the result that happens, and they're also going to be crushed because the world is going to witness that shameful embarrassment, being treated like the inferior demons that they are, because they are certainly not superior to the law. They can't even spell Constitution. Somebody like that is you're not superior to anyone. Okay, when you need to work on your syntax skills, when you don't even understand the legal definition of a trespass. So why are you in my face? Oh, because someone told you, and based on what someone told you, you have to come and be in my presence. That's when the entity is gang stalking. And they're all psychopaths because they were gang stalking the entire time when you are a delusional psycho waiting for an opportunity to blow someone's brains out because you're trying to get them in a circumstance where you can harm them or kidnap them. And you're arriving pursuant to what is a malicious iteration of the P.O.C. Owens and Hazelwood are going to federal prison, okay? That's not only the criminal act that I'm documenting. Understand that that's an unlawful threat that foolish demons do on video, on the internet, for the federal government to be informed with regard to how federal law is going to frame this malicious system, this organized crime with regard to murdering and kidnapping American citizens. The Ontario Police Department is being removed altogether. Altogether. Okay? This is the same department that's stalking every day and night, and there is no coincidence while I state that the demons are engaging in what is stalking in a helicopter. And they are on video stalking. It does not get any more foolish than this. It doesn't get any more foolish. The entity is delusional that you're on my video and that there's no consequence for it. As a he's gang stalking. Both of them are gang stalking, and there is no reasonable question about it whatsoever. So are the demons that you are admittedly stating summoned you, and based on the fallacious and, first of all, the evidence of what I'm doing, and the feds are sitting up watching what was no trespass. The feds that I'm going to prosecute as well, yes, I'm going to prosecute them. But the feds are sitting up watching that there is no trespass. And those lies came out of his face, just like when they lied about surveillance cameras at the Deport Professional Building. That's exactly what I stated. And the entity that is, again, embarrassed because of the things that I say out of my mouth, and they cannot give an intelligent response. So what do? Monitor on my device. What do? Engage in idiotic criminal conduct that is on video and on podcast. Stalking in a helicopter because they don't have anything intelligent to say in response. And that makes a sociopath, that makes a psychopath feel like they're doing something, like they're responding. And this is a whole prosecution. It's a prosecution. This is the consequences. This is the inevitable demise of the inherently inferior, okay? Inferior in every regard. A police department is stalking me. Okay, that tells you already a lot about them. A whole police department. And also that police department is being disbanded. Wiped off the map. And they're done with law enforcement. They're not going anywhere else when they lose their jobs. And many of them are going to prison. I documented a lot of them. A lot. I documented a lot of them stalking me in furtherance of murder. I documented a lot of them psychologically torturing me and harassing me systematically. And a lot of them are going to federal prison. And they're doing so while they are keeping tabs on all of the evidence. And what you're listening to are the people of the state sharing a criminal conduct with that gang stalking police department, leaving out of the venue of the establishment, 519 North Euclid Avenue, while the demon flies over in helicopter. They're pacing together. This is what the Ontario International Airport does. Amplified plane activity and engineer light, and all the demons all around on the ground, pacing all around. So they're leaving out of the establishment, gang stalking me in doing so. And that's supposed to be the ha-ha on the documented criminal act, which is putting them in federal prison. This is what the demons, this is how they think in their mind, that they're engaging, they've accomplished something. It's going on the internet. This is informing federal policy. This is exactly why they are going to federal prison. And there's a laundry list of demons of the Ontario police who are going to federal prison, and this is why. Because this is what they were doing. They're gang stalking. And you're a whole psychopath who cannot, by the way, answer a question with any manner of intelligence or credibility when I ask you, why are you here? Because, first of all, what do I mean by that? You're gang stalking. What are you in my face for? All right? Because they know, and they know that I know. And I actually do know. So the entity is engaging in what is audible activity creation by stating, oh, we were told that you trespassed. What? Do you know the legal definition of a trespass? So she stated that I was inside of the establishment. No, you were outside. Oh, on the sidewalk? I was trying to break in the door. These are the demons that lied about the Deport Professional. These are the demons that are stalking by helicopter moments later. Every day stalking under a fake sun. Owens and C. Hazelwood are exhibiting why gang stalking police officers do not have any due process rights with regard to remaining in law enforcement. You don't have any due process rights. It doesn't apply to domestic terrorism. That applies to actual law enforcement officers who are not maliciously doubling as gang stalking murderers, who create narratives for the entity that's engaged in pedophilia, that's engaged in copyright infringement by gang stalking, that's engaged in kidnapping via gang stalking, that's engaged in what is the violation of human rights by gang stalking. You don't have any due process rights. C. Hazelwood and Owens and the demon flying the gang stalker in a helicopter, and the people of the state. This is demonstrating to you why and how they have no due process rights. It does not exist for gang stalkers. It does not exist for domestic terrorism. That's not why those policies are in existence. That's not why law enforcement officers are provided what are due process rights.
Okay, you don't have those rights, you don't have those protections, and they are going to be disbanded, and they're being permanently removed from law enforcement because of the prosecution for domestic terrorism. You're not just engaged in harassment, you're engaged in terrorism in the United States, and you're going to be treated accordingly. And terrorism in the United States often includes this gang conduct, stalking with the population that is sharing in what is trying to, conspiring to kidnap and murder someone. This is why you're calling the police under the fake sun while you're monitoring them, keeping them under surveillance. And these are the psychopaths that are together sharing in what is sexual violence, obsessed with my vagina. These are pedophiles that are together, conspiring together, gang stalking, and lying about the reason why the police are stating that they're in my face, monitoring me on video. They're going to federal prison. Okay? It is currently 11:04 p.m. C. Hazelwood and Owens are going to federal prison. The demons that are gang stalking in helicopters, they're not remaining a mystery. The federal government is going to be forced to do its job, which is not facilitate a gang stalking entity such as the state of California. Okay? This is the P.O.C. And this is why Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. You just witnessed it. Because that is a threat to my life. Very easily. A rapid escalation and the loss of my life. And you are lied to about what actually happened to me. You're lied to about who I am and my character. You're lied to about my history in order that murderers get away with it. Murderers that were summoned by the murderers that are gang stalking me. That's why Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. And this is helping him get away with stealing my money and my property while he's engaging in having sex rituals with my mother, who is sharing in that conspiracy to have her own daughter killed because she wants to be me. That's why they're going to federal prison. That's why Eric Spencer is going to federal prison. He's gang stalking me with the police department, who he is counting on taking my life so that he can fake cry at my funeral and then engage in what is profiting from my demise. He's going to federal prison. He sat in court lying on my character because he's gang stalking with these demons who are providing a wealth of evidence that's going to inform federal legislation. This is the law, and this is what's going to happen. And they're engaging in it with impunity today, and they're going to regret it in court. You're going to see their faces. You're going to have information, detailed information about it, and they're going to federal prison, and justice requires it. I'm giving you the inside details regarding why, what policy, and why that specific policy. I'm not just pointing out stuff and just saying, oh, you're going to do it. No, I'm not. That's not what's happening. This is the entity that's engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct, and the gang stalkers, Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks, are going to federal prison for it. The Ontario Police Department, Owens and C. Hazelwood, these are demons that are compensated out of property that was stolen from me to keep me under surveillance, to lie in my face about being told about me trespassing, and the entity is keeping me under surveillance knowing very well that I wasn't trespassing anywhere. By the way, the whole illusion regarding private property and public property is serving the surveillance system. This is what Tracy Banks engaged in on May 29, 2025. Lying together and stating that I hit her in her face, lying and stating that I have a prescription, that I need to take my medication, that I was raped, that I told her that I was raped. These are all the things that the Ontario Police Department, again, lying together with the people of the state. And to do what? Commit the documented kidnapping that happened on May 29, 2025, in concert with also the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. This is why gang stalking police officers are going to federal prison, and they do not maintain any due process rights at all with regard to keeping a job in law enforcement, and they're not engaged in law enforcement. Due process rights with regard to law enforcement centers around you're actually engaging in what is a job, your duty with regard to law enforcement. Stalking and criminal surveillance and furtherance of murder and kidnapping is not law enforcement, and you maintain no due process rights. You are going to be removed, and you're also going to federal prison where there is evidence that you are engaging in this targeting system while you're wearing that badge, while you're representing that department, while you're doing so in police vehicles and in helicopters like the Ontario Police are doing right now, by the way. You're going to federal prison. And so is Jason Isaac Fields, and so is Tracy Banks, engaging in kidnapping with the gang stalkers of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. They went out of their way to make sure that they did not check to make sure that they have probable cause under the Welfare and Institutions Code. They went out of their way to make sure that they didn't check that was indeed the case. They did that on purpose. They went out of their way to make sure that they didn't give me the paperwork that I was entitled to. They went out of their way to make sure that they violated the laws governing an involuntary
involuntary detention. They went out of their way to do that in order to commit that kidnapping amongst somebody that doesn't even have any medication history, prescription drugs, mental health issues or whatnot. This is why they're doing so, because you're witnessing me prosecute them. So the entity engaged in what is this documented conspiracy with the gang stalking medical professionals that also lie on paper. Oh, they've also sat and lied in court with Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks. They're going to federal prison. This is why gang stalking police officers understand they're going to federal prison. And the demons are stalking by helicopter right now. See, Hazelwood and Owens are going to federal prison. Okay, the entities engaging in this conduct, and they have surrounded themselves after I put them in a chokehold with the evidence, unilaterally. Okay, this is the P.O.C. And all of that they are engaging in is that pattern of conduct. And the demons that are more obsessed with me, rather than using what is foresight and wisdom and understanding that you're going to need some strategy with regard to targeting me, while they can't spell Constitution, and I was trained to do this. The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct and is doing so with regard to a bunch of demons that rely on gang conduct. And I'm going to prosecute this gang. You're witnessing it. And these are the laws, these are the policies that are going to surround it. This is the entity, this is the system that results in what is the loss of life of American citizens in this country, okay? By a bunch of demons that don't even know what it is that empowers them to or authorizes them to do the things that they're supposed to be doing within a job, not with regard to a malicious criminal pattern of conduct. Okay, the Ontario Police Department is stalking, pacing, and helicopter. Let me go ahead and show you that. Capturing screenshots right now. This is where the entity is pacing along Euclid Avenue repeatedly while I'm speaking right now. This ongoing discussion, I'm speaking for 30 minutes. The entity flew over by helicopter over 15 minutes ago and is engaged in ongoing pacing. And this is the gang stalking that Owens and C. Hazelwood engaged in. And their audible activity is malicious in that they're relying upon, this is the purpose of criminal summoning, this is why you're going to federal prison. This is what they're doing under the fake sun. The targeted individual is one that is not a criminal. And I'm speaking of the ordinary targeted individual, and I'm talking about myself. I've never been a criminal. And you are certainly not a criminal documenting the criminal activity of the police. The police that are hostile because you have the audacity to tell them they don't have authority under the law, which they don't. And they're delusional because they haven't been in the seat of defendant in that federal court yet. They're engaging in things that that's going to bite them in court. Because they're going to prison and they're not going to get out in a year. They're not getting out. This is the P.O.C. Remember, the Ontario Police has years of repeatedly kidnapping, while demons like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields and the rest of the gangsta, the fake friends and family, they've been stealing my money for years and paying demons like these third parties inside of 519 North Euclid Avenue, paying them to engage in targeting me, paying the demons of the Ontario Police Department to target me. They're going to prison. And this is why. This is the entity that's incentivized to target you. This is the entity that acts together to target you. This is the entity that makes up information as to why you suffered whatever demise you have suffered, while it's all targeting the whole time. It's targeting. No. You deal with that, which is an unlawful threat that is not neutralized after the fact. The target individual, that American citizen's life is threatened right then and there. That is requiring what is immediate removal from that job, and you're also going to federal prison. To make that threat commensurate, it is federal prison. Okay, they're not just engaging in what is making the target individual cry and then just, okay, we're done. But this is very serious. They engage in committing what's murder. That's an intentional taking of the human life of another. It's intentional. It is intentional when you're gang stalking. And the death of the target individual is reasonably foreseeable to result when police are stalking them. That is absolutely reasonable to result. It is murder. Understand what the legal definition of that is. Look it up. Okay? The entity is engaging in that, and you're going to federal prison. You're going to federal prison for that. And this is what Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks solicited. This is what they sought out to have me subject to. And this is what is the reason why I am currently a transient. Being a trained professional, financing my own education, always being a professional on the job, being targeted at work by gang stalkers like the Ontario Police. That's why I'm in this economic position. And it is only economic, and it has nothing to do with mental health, by the way. at all. And this is speaking to what the laws in this country are also going to change, because it serves the gang stalker's purpose. That is an unconstitutionally vague basis of interfering with the liberty rights of and property rights of American citizens, so that terrorists and sex offenders and pedophiles like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields can profit off of my taking my money and my property, where you have criminals, pedophiles like the Ontario police who are stalking like C. Hazelwood and Owens. This is how that whole system, that's the big picture, that's the forest right there. The laws are going to change, because it doesn't even have anything to do with mental illness when you're engaged in surveillance and you're targeting. And it is clearly economic. But when you're engaging in what is abuse of the law, when you have demons sitting on the bench, when you have demons practicing law and practicing medicine, when you have demons that are conspiring with a corrupt system, you are able to target that person and then create the illusion of what mental illness is defined as. That's why that law is going to change, because that, I am the evidence also why that is not even the practice of medicine. That has nothing to do with mental illness. That may be a factor, maybe, that's a permissive term, that may be a factor. That is not controlling whatsoever, and it is insufficient to interfere with the property rights of an American citizen. And by the way, when you're engaged in surveillance in the United States, you no longer have that right to do so, because the government is inclined to engage in criminal monitoring, targeting people like these demons are doing. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and this is what is so infuriating about it. If you can hear my the energy that I have behind it, because this is what ordinary targeted individuals are suffering. And they suffer in silence. No, who are they going, even if they're good enough with the skill set, who are they going to report it to? Okay, no one has ever exposed the system. No one has ever provided a remedy. Okay, because a lot of times, if leave it to the federal government, they're going to fold their hands. I guarantee it, because unless it's them or something that they're invested in, they don't care. That's the reality. That's the reality, and that's just the human nature. This is speaking to what is the system and the resolution. And I am the most qualified, because I was subject to it. I set up and I studied it, and I understand it through and through. And I also understand the psychopath and what the psychopath wants to present to the world, to the public, to the system as it exists, and what that requires in response, a federal response. Not only with regard to justice, but with regard to disincentivizing it. So that the rest of the demons, they will tremble and they will think twice, they'll think 3 times and 4 times before they do it. Okay? And it starts with federal prison. That's non-negotiable. You're going to federal prison. And it's currently at 11:15 p.m. at 35 minutes, and the demons of the Ontario Police maintaining ongoing helicopter activity for 28 minutes. Okay? This is the P.O.C. They're doing so the moment that I refer to them. This is evidence that's putting L. Estrada, Alex Escobar, A. Quesada. That's putting C. Hazelwood. That's putting Officer Owens. That's putting L. Martinez, B. Hook, C. Torres, and Nathan Morgan. They're all going to federal prison. And those are just the demons that engaged in kidnapping as of 2025. This is not including the demons of the Ontario Police that are going to federal prison, that engaged in stalking me, gang stalking me, which is a psychologically harmful threat. And for example, the demons that are stalking in the middle of the parking lot at 12 o'clock in the morning, molesting me with impossible light. Doing so, which is a psychologically harmful, and it's also a threat while a police officer is stalking you. What do you do about that? Understand the plight of the ordinary target individual. What are you going to do when the stalker, the criminal, is the police? That's by design, by the way. You're going to federal prison. You make me sick. You're going to federal prison, though. That's how you're going to handle that. You're going to federal prison. This is designed to psychologically murder, and it's also intended to result in what is the physical loss of life, if not loss of liberty. But they are not safe and state facilitating venues. They are murdered in these venues. And then you're given some other explanation why. And they are given what is unwarranted, as I have proven. It is unmerited legitimacy, meaning you are told on the news that it was the inmates that killed another inmate, that they were found in their cell or in their room hanging from the ceiling. You're told these things about what they did to themselves or about what happened to them. And you don't know that these are demons that are gang stalking inside of the facilities, and they engage in those sacrifices. They kill them. They cover up the cameras, and they engage in what has taken their lives. That's what's happening. The entities engaged in this P.O.C. and this ongoing lawlessness, flying over by helicopter the moment that I mentioned helicopter, stalking me by helicopter in my face, while these demons that engaged in criminal summoning with C. Hazelwood and Owens, just gang stalking like I just documented, they're all going to federal prison.
They're doing this for funsies, but understand it's very serious. They do this with regard to the person that they intend to murder. You're going to federal prison. And this is how federal group stalking and monitoring is going to be treated with regard to what is domestic terrorism and psychological torture. And I want to be clear, it's nothing that they're going to be laughing about in federal court. They're going to try to move themselves so far away from it, but it's impossible. It's impossible. You are going to federal prison. The Ontario police are so foolish. They are incriminating everybody having anything to do with it. But it is more than just them being what are a liability now with regard to the evidence and prosecuting a public entity. The evidence is conclusively prosecuting them. Okay? The evidence prosecuting the people of the state, those third parties, those third-party demons gang stalking at the little trashy dumpster of an establishment, 519 North Euclid Avenue. And the license plate that I documented, the gang stalking with the City of Ontario International Airport. Remember, the gang stalking by all of the entity is serving to prosecute. The Ontario International Airport maintains no arrivals and departures over this intersection. It is criminal conduct with regard to the impossible light activity that you already know is coexisting. It's happening in this environment while they are engaging in the P.O.C. And I'm documenting it on video, the absence of any trespass, while the federal government is sitting back and watching them lie again as to why they were in my face. And admitting that the people of the state summoned them. They're going to prison. You're going to prison. And there's psychopaths talking about you got a phone call and that's why you're here. You're stalking and monitoring. That's why you put them in federal prison. They easily lie. They don't think twice about it. They also murder and kidnap and set up. Okay? Sacrifice. Just as easily as they lie about why they're in my face. You're going to federal prison. All right, it's currently 11:19 p.m. This is the P.O.C. The entity is gang stalking, all of that criminal pattern conduct I'm documenting, and then the entity engages in what is gang stalking by the Ontario police in my face. There is no separation between the criminal pattern of conduct. And this is the entity that is surrounded with that body of evidence. And the gang stalkers, this is the practice of witchcraft, which is showing how foolish it is. They're going to be prosecuted by the very illusions that they rely on. They're going to be diagnosed with the very illusion that they rely on. They're going to be diagnosed. These are mentally ill. Remember, psychopathic, antisocial, delusional. Not the criminal definition of insanity where you don't know, oh no, they know what they're doing. They don't know how idiotic, how ignorant they are though, because they're not prepared for the highly sophisticated prosecution for this malicious system. They're not ready for that. It is currently 11:20 p.m. and I'm at 507 with you. All right, third-party cool transport. That is gang stalking again, the third consecutive night of engaging in domestic terrorism, gang stalking. They're stalking in the path with light activity. The entity's sounding helicopter activity. The demons are still molesting with impossible light, just like they were, by the way, with C. Hazelwood and Owens, who were gang stalking me while wearing police uniforms and stating that third parties told them that I committed a trespass while I was standing on the sidewalk, not even paying attention to their very much raggedy establishment, okay? This is the entity that's gang stalking me together, and everything that they listen to, that the demons are engaged in, they're all stalking me, and it turns out that they were targeting the federal prosecutor, and they are hostile to what it is that I published on the podcast, to everything that I was stating, so they engaged in a federal offense, which is being published on the internet with regard to what everyone's going to know why they're going to federal prison. That's what the entity engaged in, gang stalking as a act of retaliation because of hostility toward the evidence and the person that's legally analyzing and adding my own commentary to embarrass the demon possessed. Those that are embarrassed engage in more federal offenses. And cold transport is gang stalking with the demons that are stalking as a population that together engaged in gang stalking with the Ontario police. That's also why gang stalking police officers go to federal prison, by the way. That's also why they're going to federal prison. That's why they get that high penalty. Okay, in addition to the fact that they are waging an unlawful threat that is too immediate to address with merely consequences after the fact and ridiculousness of due process rights when you're a whole domestic terrorist. I don't think so. You're going to federal prison. You gang stalk at all, wearing a police uniform, you're going to federal prison. That's exactly where you're going. And this is exactly why, too, they think that you can engage in gang stalking with the police and they'll show up and they're supposed to make somebody cower. Everybody that I just documented is going to federal prison. That's the federal response to that. They're all going to federal prison. It's currently 11:56 p.m. and cold transport is molesting me with impossible light. These are sex offenders and they're engaging in a ritual. All they're doing is going in circles around me. They're all stalking me. They're psychopaths. And they engage in worshiping my vagina. And cool transport is engaging in a sex offense while engaging in what is molestation with the entity that's pacing all around me in circles. It's currently 11:57 p.m. P.O.C. Oh, cold transport is gang stalking, and in addition to what is ARCO, who is gang stalking, sharing that sexual violence, that ongoing gang stalking. 434 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California, 91762. And it is 11:57 p.m.